Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Naruto. The Age of Ninja Swordsmen begins from the Hidden Cloud Village. Chapter 61. Got it. Yaoi nodded and said, there is nothing much to say about the Iwagakure village. The policy of the third Tsuchikage is more about collective strength. Only his son Wangtu is still acceptable. Then there is the Four Tails Jinchuriki Shizukari, whose strength exceeds the level of the Jonin. He came here to participate in the war before. The Sand Village is the three people who came to the village last time. There are many geniuses in the Kurigakure village. According to the information we got, they are forming a team of the 7 ninja swordsmen. The fat man and the ninja sword in his hand that we captured before are one of them. There are too many geniuses in Konoha. They are all members of the major ninja clans. They have blood limit and secret techniques. They are much stronger than ordinary ninjas. Basically, they are all geniuses. When talking about Konoha, Yaoi's expression was not very good. Compared with Konoha, their cloud village was too bad. There are a lot of bloodline limit families in Konoha, and there are also many secret arts families, and there are too many geniuses. After thinking for a while, Tamura Hao asked, are there any outstanding civilian geniuses? There is a man named Namikaze Minato, who is about the same age as you and is still studying in the ninja school. He has defeated the Uchiha and Senju families, as well as classmates from the Hyuga family. Now he may have the strength close to that of a special Jonin. I heard that he applied for graduation at the age of 8, but was not approved. Also, it seems that Jiraiya, the disciple of the third Hokage, has accepted him as a disciple. He has demonstrated many ninjutsu in the ninja school. Speaking of a person, Yaoi is quite interested in Namikaze Minato. It is quite rare for a child of common origin to defeat a ninja child of the same age. That's too good. He should not be a real commoner. He may have an extraordinary origin like the 2 disciples of the third Hokage. His future achievements will definitely not be low. He will definitely be a great enemy of our hidden cloud village. Tamura Hao does not think that Namikaze Minato is of common origin. At most, he is a descendant of a declining ninja clan. In this Naruto world where bloodline is important, it is impossible to become a strong person without a good bloodline. Minato Namikaze performed too well and too strongly, as if he had cheated, and was even stronger than Kakashi. And he remembered that Minato Namikaze seemed to have 5 chakra attributes, which was not a talent that ordinary people could have, and the amount of chakra had nothing to do with the word, ordinary. Orochimaru and Jiraiya were the same. They were definitely not ordinary people, especially Orochimaru's natural snake pupil, which was definitely not something that ordinary people could have. That's right, Yaoi agreed with this point, and Minato Namikaze had a surname, but ordinary people didn't have surnames. A real civilian ninja should be a physical qualification like Ahau, and the pitiful amount of chakra was the standard of civilian ninjas. Even if he was given a powerful ninjutsu, he couldn't use it. Fortunately, Ahau's comprehension was high enough to make up for the shortcomings of his qualifications to a certain extent. Unfortunately, becoming a tailed beast Jinchuriki requires a huge chakra talent, so that it can compete with the chakra of the tailed beast, which Ahau is not suitable for. Otherwise, if he seals a tentacle of the 8 tails and makes it a tailed beast Jinchuriki, its strength will surely soar. They have almost finished cleaning up. We have to leave as soon as possible. Father and his friends are making the final discussion. Come with me and listen. Yaoi called out. After all, this is not the land of thunder. It is not safe to stay here, and the village cannot be without his father for a long time. Tamura Hao followed quickly. He also wanted to return to the Hidden Cloud village as soon as possible to continue his development and learn the lightning release ninjutsu. It would be even better if he could develop Chidori. It's not that he has any obsession with Chidori, but Chidori has great potential. It can evolve extended applications based on Chidori like Uchiha Sasuke, forming a system, and even extending 2S level ninjutsu of Raikage and Kirin. Especially Kirin is a lightning attack that draws on nature, which consumes much less chakra and is most suitable for him. In this way, he can deal with various opponents without wasting time learning many unrelated ninjutsu. Of course, there are also some lightning ninjutsu of the Hidden Cloud village that he values, namely the lightning armor and the hell stab of the 3rd generation of Raikage, as well as the supersonic thunder ninjutsu used by the future Killer Bee. Sensei Fukai knows that ninjutsu, which can greatly enhance the sharpness of the ninja sword, and has the penetration and cutting power beyond the wind ninjutsu, which can be said to be indestructible. As long as you learn it, it will definitely be sour and cool to match it with your own double swords. At the same time, the supersonic thunder ninjutsu is a blessing type of ninjutsu, which consumes little, much less than those of the release type, and is very suitable for ninjas like himself who have moving chakra to practice. As long as the chakra is increased tenfold on the current basis, you can learn to use it. That's right, 10 times. There is no way. His chakra talent is too moving, coupled with the limitations of age and body, it is simply unbearable to watch. The two quickly entered a large tent, where many people gathered, and the one sitting in the main seat was naturally the third generation of Raikage. Seeing his son and disciple come in, the third generation of Raikage showed a smile on his face, especially to the disciple. That brain is really useful. Tiankyun Hao and Yaoi didn't say much, but quietly came behind Tutai and listened to everyone's discussion. There were many things to discuss, including the resettlement of the Uzumaki clan after entering the Hidden Cloud Village, the intention of the next Ninja World War, and the previously captured Hokage's son Sarutobi Shinosuke. I suggest sending the Hokage's son to the Hidden Sand Village. This kind of person has a very special identity and cannot be killed by us. It just so happens that Konoha's front line against Sunagakur village is the Sarutobi clan and Shimura clan. I believe Sunagakur village will make good use of this. Coupled with the fact that we killed the elites of the Shimura clan and the Sarutobi clan this time, perhaps Sunagakur village can directly break through the defense line there and penetrate into the Fire Country, attracting Konoha's main force. In addition, according to the information we previously obtained from the mind of a Sunagakur puppet master, the second generation Raikage seems to have pioneered a forbidden technique of human puppets, which is to make people into puppets, and their combat power will be stronger. You can send the bodies of Konoha ninjas this time, which will definitely cause greater damage to Konoha during the battle. Quote, Dodai suggested that Sarutobi Shinosuke be packed and sent to Sunagakur village to divert trouble to the east. I think it would be better to send it to Iwagakure village. The one sent there by Konoha is the Senju clan. This can just be used to deepen the conflict between the third Hokage and the Senju clan. Some people expressed different opinions, thinking that it would be more appropriate to send it to Iwagakure village. The third Raikage thought for a while and finally made a decision, and said, send it to Sunagakur village. The kingdom of earth is closer to us, and Onoki is a difficult old fox. It is better for Sunagakur village to benefit from this than for Iwagakure village, profit. Of course, this is just a superficial statement. In fact, what he wants is not to deepen the conflict between the Senju clan and the third Hokage clan, but to make the Senju clan disappear in this ninja war. He didn't want the Senju clan to have another first-generation Hokage. He would have to kill him if he had the chance. Tamura Hao had some small calculations in his heart. Now that Sarutobi Shinosuke is still alive, even if he is sent to Sunagakur village, he may not really be chopped into pieces. It would be bad if he is sent back to Konoha through some transactions. Although it is difficult to kill, it should be okay to cut off part of it, at least it can completely eliminate the appearance of Sarutobi Konohamaru. After the third Raikage made some plans, he led the ninja army on his way back, but the ninja world was in an uproar. When the information about the war in the Whirlpool country reached the major ninja villages, they were confused and angry. The Hidden Mist village started fighting internally just as Tamura Hao and Dodai expected. The ninja clan and the third Mizukage were completely opposed and torn apart. Although they had not started fighting openly, they had already started fighting secretly, especially for the competition for the two-tailed beasts. Both sides wanted to control the tailed beasts in their own hands. The Hidden Sand village was also furious. Not only did the thousands of elite ninja armies sent out fail to get the appropriate sealing technique, but they were all killed. Only 4 people escaped back. Even Chiyo and Ebizo who escaped back were disabled and had to recuperate for at least several years. Without much nonsense, the third Raikage personally led the ninja army to the border, ready to give Konoha's ninja army here a hard blow. The same was true for the Hidden Rock village. When they heard that their confidant, Shisi-Ren, died in the Whirlpool country and was poisoned by Konoha, they were so angry. Although they did not personally lead the team to fight, they also sent a large army to suppress the Fire Country. The Hidden Cloud Village also naturally cooperated in sending troops. Even before Konoha sent the Uchiha elite over, the Third Raikage sent the ninja army into the Hot Spring Country to establish a defense line based on the favorable terrain. At the same time, Hanzo of the Hidden Rain Village also declared war on Konoha, cooperating with the Hidden Rock Village and the Hidden Sand Village to target Konoha's ninja army here. The Fire Country and Konoha were panicked. Although Konoha was powerful, it was difficult to resist the joint siege of the three ninja villages, not to mention that there was also a demigod Hanzo of the Hidden Rain Village, who was a strategic-level strongman. But what bothered Sarutobi Hiruzen even more was the exposure of the detailed process of the war in the Land of Whirlpools. He was not only under pressure from the three major ninja villages, but also from Konoha. The first generation's wife had asked someone to invite her over for a talk. He even suppressed the pain of the family's elite being wiped out and his son possibly dying in the war. The problems within the village must be suppressed, otherwise everything is over. Is this what you did? Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at the old man opposite him and was very annoyed and disappointed. I asked you to help me solve my problems, not to cause me trouble. And you also exposed the secret of transplanting your Sharingan, and the Uchiha clan leader has already sent someone to send a visiting card. This is because the Uchiha elites are all outside. If they are still in the village, I am afraid they will have to gather together to attack. It is a big taboo to seize the bloodline power in the village. Shimura Danzo kept silent with a cold face. The war in the Land of Whirlpools was indeed not well organized. The biggest omission was that they did not expect the Uzumaki clan to defect to the Hidden Cloud Village and hide some of their members. Now that part of the Uzumaki clan has taken a boat to the Hidden Cloud Village, it is really hard to say what will happen. In addition, the elite troops led by them were completely wiped out, which was enough to seriously damage the vitality of their two clans and the route. Mito Kato-en took off his glasses and pinched his nose, saying, Hiruzen, it's useless to get angry now. We can only deny the Uzumaki clan's affairs. It's the slander of the Hidden Cloud Village. With Mito-sama's temperament and the current situation, he will probably not hold us accountable. The most difficult thing now is the Sharingan issue, which must be resolved as soon as possible. Otherwise, if the Uchiha ninjas on the front line know about it, they will probably abandon everything and come back immediately. Sarutobi Hiruzen glared at Shimura Danzo opposite him and said coldly, you'd better prepare a backup plan. This matter is taboo. After all, Danzo is a high-ranking official in the village and his confidant. In the eyes of the ninjas in the village, the two of them are one. Now that Danzo does this kind of thing, it will inevitably implicate himself. If he is not careful and causes dissatisfaction among all the ninjas, he, the Hokage, may be forced to abdicate. Shimura Danzo was silent for a moment, then he removed the seal bandage on his eyes to reveal a strange eye, and said, what I have is not the Sharingan, but the blood dragon eye of the Land of Lightning. He naturally knew the many taboos of transplanting the Sharingan, and it would be very troublesome if it was exposed, so he had already made preparations. He asked someone to go to the Land of Lightning to get a blood dragon eye. Although it was a little worse than the Sharingan, it was also a good eye, enough to explain the seal bandage on his eyes. The Blood Pond clan was detained by the Uchiha clan. Sarutobi Hiruzen had some impression of this. The Blood Pond clan's incident happened very earlier than the first generation of teachers. It seems that because of something that offended the daimyo of the Land of Lightning, he was ordered to be exiled to a place and guarded by the ninjas of the Uchiha clan. Even in recent years, the Uchiha clan has sent people to rotate there, which is also a special permission from the daimyo of the Land of Lightning, and the Hidden Cloud Village has no right to interfere. As far as he knows, the Blood Dragon Eye of the Blood Pond clan is a bloodline of illusion that can compete with the Uchiha Sharingan, and possesses all kinds of strange secret techniques. It looks a bit like it, but that kind of chakra is too cold and ominous. Udatain Kaharu looked at the eye of Shimura Danzo and nodded in approval. With this eye, they can deny the words of the Hidden Cloud Village, and the rest is just arguing, which they are very good at. They can completely define this matter as a deliberate slander by the Hidden Cloud Village, which is specially planned for the war and wants to disturb the hearts of the Uchiha ninjas on the front line. Too despicable. Let me go to the Senju clan first. Sarutobi Hiruzen stood up. Now he could only deny it and insisted that it was the slander of those ninja villages and the conspiracy planned by the Hidden Cloud Village. Then it was to go to the Uchiha clan. Although the suspicion could not be completely cleared, at least there was room for easing. Only after these two things are settled can we do other things, such as redeem our son. After all, he is our son, and the Hidden Cloud village is unlikely to kill him, so there is a chance to talk. Shimura Danzo didn't say much, and got up and followed. After a while, the two came to the Senju clan's land, and under the gaze of many unfriendly eyes, they came to the residence of the first Hokage's wife. Uzumaki Mito didn't say anything and just looked at the two quietly, but it put great pressure on the two, and the prepared words could not be said. Only by facing the first generation of the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki can we understand how terrible he is, not much worse than the first generation teacher. After watching like this for a full hour, Uzumaki Mito finally spoke with a sad and tired face. The Uzumaki clan has defected to the Hidden Cloud village and is no longer an ally of Konoha. Remove all the Uzumaki icons in the village. She has lived from the Warring States period to the present, and witnessed the end of the Warring States period and the beginning of the Ninja Village era with her own eyes. She has seen too many things. She could see through the little tricks of Sarutobi Hiruzen and his men, and she didn't want to listen to their excuses. She owed the Uzumaki clan a debt. If she hadn't become the first generation of tailed beast Jinchuriki for Hashirama and Konoha, and even participated in the First Ninja World War, the Uzumaki clan wouldn't have been targeted by so many people. When her second uncle came to scold her, she guessed that there would be such a day, but she didn't expect that the real killers were Hashirama and Tobarama's students. The only good thing was that the Uzumaki clan moved to the Hidden Cloud village and was not exterminated, which made her feel a little better. However, the friendship between the Uzumaki clan and Konoha ended here. It would be better to cut off some things. The words of Uzumaki Mito made the two people tremble in their hearts, knowing that this person must have understood, but fortunately he did not intend to pursue it. We will take care of it, you should rest more. Hurry up and agree, then leave in disgrace. Although it did not go as they expected, the result was still good, at least it was stable. Hashirama, is the ninja village you founded really correct? In the room, Uzumaki Mito murmured to himself, and his heart could not help but feel confused. Hashirama's original intention was to build a village, protect the children, avoid being attacked and killed by hostile forces, and let the descendants grow up happily. But the result was not as they imagined. After Hashirama's death, a more terrible war broke out, affecting the war of the entire ninja world, and the foundation of the war was the ninja village system. Now that the Second Ninja World War is about to begin, she has an ominous premonition. The Uzumaki clan became the first victim of this Ninja World War, and was almost exterminated. Which family will be the next one? This is not what she wants. Now thinking back, it seems that Uchiha Madara's concept of the only ninja village back then might be better. It is impossible for countries and ninja villages to have friendship or live in harmony. Let alone the confusion of Uzumaki Mito, Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo on the other side came to the Uchiha clan. Under the gaze of the same pair of eyes full of hatred and anger, they were led to the home of the Uchiha clan leader. Uchiha clan leader Uchiha Liang ignored Sarutobi Hiruzen's words, but opened the Sharingan to look at the blood dragon eye revealed by Shimura Danzo. The pupil power of that eye is conflicting with your chakra. It should be that the transplant time is too short and it has not been run in yet. Uchiha Liang suddenly said, which froze Sarutobi Hiruzen, who was faking it, and Shimura Danzo's expression became more fierce. Has it been seen? Eye transplantation is not that simple, especially for foreigners who need a long time to run in. Although he had transplanted the blood dragon eye, it was only a simple transplant and he had not yet adapted to it. He could not even see anything now. Chief Liang, Sarutobi Hiruzen wanted to say something, but was stopped by Uchiha Liang. Since he did not transplant the Sharingan, then return the Sharingan to our Uchiha, including those seized by the Senju family during the Warring States period. The bloodline of any ninja clan cannot be leaked, and our Uchiha Sharingan cannot be leaked. Uchiha Liang actually did not take this matter seriously. In the past, many clan members went out on missions and disappeared, and no one was seen alive or dead. Especially since the previous clan leader Uchiha Madara showed his invincible power, countless people coveted it. However, their Uchiha Sharingan was not so easy to deal with. After that period of time, the major forces also stopped. At the same time, he didn't want to fall out with Sarutobi Hiruzen and others because of this matter, which would only benefit the Senju clan, and he also needed Sarutobi Hiruzen and others to weaken the Senju clan. That was the biggest obstacle for them, the Uchiha, to become Hokage. With the Senju clan, they, the Uchiha, could not possibly produce a Hokage. Letting Sarutobi Hiruzen and others fight with the Senju clan is in the best interest of the Uchiha now and in the future. But they couldn't let them have an easy time either. This was also an opportunity to take back the Sharingan in their hands. Not to mention taking it all back, at least take back most of it. Danzo. Seeing that Uchiha Liang had said so much, Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Shimura Danzo. Teacher Tobarama had a research project on the Sharingan that was taken over by Danzo, and there had been no significant results, so it was okay to give it away. I'll have someone send it to you later. With a gloomy face, Shimura Danzo finally compromised. Of course, the Sharingan left by Mr. Tobarama and the ones he secretly seized over the years cannot all be given, especially the 3 Magatama Sharingan, some of which must be kept for further research. Also, those Sharingan that were scrapped during the research process can also be handed over to make up the number, just as waste. I won't see you off. Uchiha Liang took a sip from the teacup and signaled that the two could leave. Such an attitude of expelling guests made Sarutobi Hiruzen and the others secretly angry, but they didn't say much and got up and left. After the two walked out of the Uchiha clan, they were relieved and finally stabilized. Danzo, you need to go to the river country front as soon as possible to take charge, and Sun and Moon alone can't defend it. Sarutobi Hiruzen mentioned the river country front. The ninjas of their 2 clans were the vanguards to resist there, but the elite of the clan secretly went to the Whirlpool country to plan, and now they were killed by the Cloud Ninja and the Uzumaki clan. The high-level combat power of the front line there is seriously lacking, and it will be broken if you are not careful. Although his younger brother Sarutobi Hazuki is there, it is still not enough, far from enough. And his younger brother's summoning contract should also be sealed. Without the assistance of the summoned beast, the strength will be greatly weakened. It will be troublesome if the Sand Village ninja army breaks through the defense line and enters the heartland of the Land of Fire, especially the tribesmen there. Once all of them are killed, their 2 tribes will be finished, and the situation in the village will also be in trouble. I need the assistance of the 3 tribes of Pig, Deer and Cho. I will take Orochimaru with me. His summoned beast is very suitable for large-scale wars. Shimura Danzo said coldly. Because of his carelessness, their 2 tribes and the elite of the root were all killed. This responsibility cannot be shirked. But he couldn't resist the high-level combat power of the Sand Village by himself, and he had to get support. In addition, he needed the help of Orochimaru. His strength was secondary. The key was Orochimaru's own talent. I'll go talk to them. Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded. He would naturally not let his old friend go alone. The key was that he couldn't hold on. Now the only ones who could be persuaded were the 3 tribes of Pig, Deer and Cho, who had been friends with them for generations. I'll leave tomorrow. Looking at the location of the broken arm, Shimura Danzo said something and turned away. He needed to get an arm as soon as possible, otherwise even the seal would be a problem. Raikage, Whirlpool. After the old friend left, Sarutobi Hiruzen's eyes became cold and fierce, his face became more ferocious, and his heart was full of murderous intent. The loss this time was too great. Not only were the elite of the family wiped out, but his son's life and death were also uncertain. At the same time, the summoning contract of the Monkey clan was also sealed. This must be the work of the Uzumaki clan. With the hatred of the extermination of the clan, it is highly likely that the summoning contract will not be retrieved. The loss of the Sarutobi's own combat power will be reduced by 30%. Now we can only ask Jiraiya to go to Myoboku Mountain to take a look, hoping that it can be restored as soon as possible. The summoning world is an independent world. The 3 holy places occupy the core of the summoning world. Myoboku Mountain and Raichi Cave are mortal enemies and have many conflicts. The Monkey clan also lives in the summoning world and is interconnected. Let the toads of Myoboku Mountain go to contact the Monkey clan, maybe they can re-establish the summoning contract. Ino Shika Cho. It took a while to calm down. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked in the direction of the Ino Shika Cho clan. Next, he must get the help of the 3 clans, otherwise the defense line of the river country will not be able to hold. Not to mention Sarutobi Hiruzen, who went to the Inaraka Butterfly Clan, Shimura Danzo, who returned to the root base on the other side, met a person who had been invited before. It's Orochimaru, the disciple of the old guy. The loss of his right arm has greatly reduced his strength, and a suitable arm must be transplanted. In this regard, his basic talents were somewhat lacking, so in the end he had to find this disciple of his old man. What a perfect power! Looking at the small piece of meat in the nutrient solution, Orochimaru was extremely obsessed with it. That was the piece of flesh of the first Hokage, which was secretly cut off and studied by the second Hokage. Even if it was just a piece of meat, he could still feel the powerful life force. I really can't imagine how terrifying the power of the first Hokage must have been during his lifetime. The cells of the first generation were very corrosive, and the second generation teacher tried countless experiments but ultimately failed. Danzo Shimura explained that he also longed for the power of the first generation teacher, but was more afraid of it. After taking over Mr. Tobarama's laboratory, he secretly conducted some experiments, but unfortunately the results were very miserable, which shocked him. So you didn't ask me to help you get the power of the first Hokage this time? Hearing the fear in Danzo Shimura's tone, Orochimaru had some guesses. I need an arm that can restore my strength. The best thing that can improve me is that the reward is to let you participate in the research project on the first generation cells, so that you can come into contact with the strongest power in the ninja world. Shimura Danzo said solemnly, now the ninja world war is imminent. The third Kazekage has led the ninja army to storm the defense line in the kingdom of Kawa. In addition, the strong men of the clan he led have been destroyed in the kingdom of Whirlpool, so there is a lot of pressure there. Hiruzen couldn't leave the village easily. He had to go there by himself, not only to command the battle, but also to fight against the third Kazekage. But now that he has lost his arm, he can't even do the seal, and his strength has been greatly reduced. In addition, Orochimaru was asked to join the research on the first generation cells, and he also had the idea of accelerating this research. I have to say that Orochimaru is very talented, much better than the trash under his command. Is there any good material? Orochimaru asked. A simple arm transplant is not difficult for him, the most important thing is to solve the rejection reaction. There is a teleportation ninja, Shimura Danzo said and walked towards an operating table on the other side. There was a sleeping man tied up on it. It was prepared by Shimura Danzo before and he had finally caught it before. Is this the quick escape from Hidden Sand Village? Orochimaru looked at the man and couldn't help but stick out his tongue and lick his lips, very interested in him. He knows all the information about the blood succession limit in the ninja world, and naturally knows that the speed escape of Sand Hidden Village is a blood succession limit formed by the fusion of wind and thunder attributes. Its main feature is to increase the speed, and has the ability to surpass thunder escape and wind escape. The speed of blessing. It's not easy to obtain blood inheritance limits through transplantation. A simple arm transplant is not difficult, but it is difficult to obtain blood inheritance limits through this. What do you want? Shimura Danzo knew that this was Orochimaru negotiating terms, and he didn't mind it very much, especially at this stage when he urgently needed to restore his strength or even enhance it. I'm going to join the research on the Sharingan. Licking his lips, Orochimaru had long been interested in the Sharingan. After all, the limit of the Sharingan was not low, no less powerful than the first Hokage. He was very curious about the secrets inside. Today I will successfully transplant my arm and gain the power of teleportation. Shimura Danzo thought about it briefly and then agreed, it would not do him any harm. The progress of research on the Sharingan has long been stagnant, and there has been no new gains in more than 10 years. Maybe Orochimaru will be able to join in and there will be new results. You will gain teleportation. Orochimaru smiled broadly. Although his current methods were not enough to allow Shimura Danzo to obtain the complete power of blood successor, he could get some, at least to make the arm swing faster. Of course, surgical transplantation is not that fast, but if you keep using medical ninjutsu to stimulate the cells while rushing to the front line, you can speed up the fusion of the two cells, and it should be almost done once you get to the front line. Hiruzen has praised you many times, saying that you are his best and most proud disciple. You will probably be the future fourth Hokage. Shimura Danzo suddenly brought up another topic. After Aburame Shigeru came back from Uzushio Hidden Village, he explained everything he said to the Senju boy. He thought it was very reasonable and he was more prepared. Teacher is now in his prime, does it make sense to say this? With his eyes flickering, Orochimaru couldn't guess Shimura Danzo's true intention when he said this, but he did have some ideas about the position of Hokage. Is it because this incident was not handled well and left hidden dangers that made the teacher's position as Hokage unstable? The situation in the village is very complicated. The fourth generation may appear in this war, but from the look of Hiruzen, I don't seem to recommend you to become the fourth generation Hokage. Danzo Shimura made it clear, hoping to win over Orochimaru. Orochimaru is very talented, and he is very satisfied with his confidence in the fast ninja arm transplant this time. He needs such talents at his core. Danzo-sama isn't trying to sow discord, is he? His eyes narrowed slightly. Orochimaru felt that Shimura Danzo might not be so stupid, what he said was too straightforward. Danzo Shimura didn't pay attention to Orochimaru's eyes and said indifferently. Although you are the best disciple under Hiruzen, you are too good, especially in terms of personality. Hiruzen cannot control you. There will inevitably be conflicts in the future, which is not in his interest. I heard that he paid much attention to a child in the ninja school, and even asked Jiraiya to take him as a disciple and taught him a lot of ninjutsu. According to my investigation, the child is really excellent, especially his nerve reaction speed is unprecedentedly strong. If he can learn the Flying Thunder God technique of Mr. Tobirama, he will definitely have the strength of a shadow. Such an excellent child is more suitable for you to teach, but Hiruzen chose Jiraiya. What do you think your teacher thinks? The more he thought about the words brought back by Aburame Shigeru, the more wrong he felt. He asked someone to secretly investigate the child, which made him even more uneasy. Hiruzen is going to cultivate the fourth generation Hokage in advance. He would rather choose a child than pass the position of Hokage to himself, which made him very angry and felt betrayed. Although it was just a guess, he felt that it could be basically determined. He had seen the Flying Thunder God technique. The training requirements were very strict, and the most critical point was the speed of nerve reaction. Otherwise, it would not be flying over to kill people, but it would be delivered to the ninja sword of others. That child had a very good nerve reaction speed, and his own talent was not bad. He was born to learn the Flying Thunder God technique. Once he learned the Flying Thunder God technique, he could become the most terrifying ninja. The most terrifying thing about Mr. Tobirama was the Flying Thunder God technique. It was because of this that he became more and more certain. In the past, he only focused on Tsunade, Jiraiya and Orochimaru, but he didn't expect Hiruzen to make such a choice. You are worthy of it, Hiruzen. Orochimaru's face also became solemn. He knew about Jiraiya's disciple, and that idiot even showed off in front of him many times. He also knew that the child was arranged by the teacher. After all, that idiot stared at the female bathhouse in the village all day long. It was impossible for him to go to the ninja school, let alone discover such a genius. But he didn't expect that there was another secret hidden in it. The teacher never thought of letting him inherit the position of Hokage. Although he was not so obsessed with the position of Hokage, this behavior still made him feel uncomfortable. The teacher did say many times that he was the best candidate for the fourth Hokage, but now he secretly cultivated another person. What did he think of himself? Are you here to attract many eyes so that the child can grow up more safely? You are really worthy of it, teacher. It can be seen that your obsession with strength is better than your idea of power. There should be no conflict with me. What Hiruzen can give you, I can also give you, or even more. Seeing Orochimaru fall into thought, Shimura Danzo made an invitation. He has always kept an eye on Hiruzen's three disciples. Orochimaru is not keen on power, but is very interested in training and research, and is also very talented. This is the basis for winning him over. Please give me more advice in the future, Master Danzo. With a smile on his face, Orochimaru did not refuse the invitation. No matter what the teacher thinks, he is indeed more obsessed with power, and even does not hesitate to transform himself. And now Shimura Danzo has something he is interested in, and it is the two strongest forces in the current ninja world. It is not a loss to cooperate with him. As for the future, we will talk about it later. Moreover, Shimura Danzo's insight and intelligence in this regard surprised him. He did not see the teacher's arrangement, but Shimura Danzo saw through it. But how could Shimura Danzo, who has such insight and intelligence, be defeated in the Whirlpool country? It's too contradictory. Is there any hidden secret? Or is the Raikage assistant Tsuchida wisdom of the hidden cloud village really that terrifying? Shimura Danzo was very satisfied with Orochimaru's timely thinking and responded. You can take some of the first generation cells and Sharingan with me to the front line, where there will be enough prisoners of war to supply your research experiments. No matter what kind of experiment you do, I support it, but you need to produce some results as soon as possible to help me defeat the Sand Village. Some experiments are not easy to do in the village, but this war is an opportunity for them. The war will not end so quickly, and both sides will invest a lot of ninjas, which are all excellent experimental consumables. In addition, the senior ninjas of their two clans and the senior ninjas of the root were all wiped out in the country of whirlpools. Now they need to cultivate new high-end combat power as soon as possible. Normal methods will definitely not work, and they can only use some extreme means. What a pleasant thing. Licking his lips, Orochimaru was very satisfied with this promise. He had a lot of ideas before, but he couldn't try to verify them due to the limitations of conditions. Now he has found an opportunity. It's really pleasant to cooperate with Shimura Danzo. At the same time, the root ninjas who received the order from Shimura Danzo sent most of the Sharingan to Uchiha Liang. Uchiha Liang brought those eyes to the clan's secret place, where there were many things placed, the most of which were bottles, in which eyes were soaked in nutrient solution, all of which were Sharingan, all of which were 3 Magatama. There was also a pair of strange gray eyes. The eyes sent by Shimura Danzo with less than 3 Magatama and the broken ones were sealed in a gourd, and the rest were placed on the shelf together with the 3 Magatama Sharingan. It's a pity that Jing was too close to Senju Tobarama and others back then, otherwise with the assistance of these eyes, Izanagi alone could have dragged everyone to death and let Uchiha produce a Hokage. Looking at the sealed Sharingan, Uchiha Liang regretted it. These are all accumulated by their Uchiha family for nearly 100 years. The eyes of their Uchiha clan members will naturally not follow into the coffin. This is the most precious resource of the family, especially the 3 Magatama Sharingan. That is the medium for Izanagi to perform, but unfortunately Izanagi needs the power of the Mangekyo level to perform it completely and completely change its own destiny. Although Jing awakened the Mangekyo and his power was extremely strong, his heart was not in the family. He was too biased and died young. What a pity. The one who made him feel the most pressure was the wife of the first generation. She had perfectly controlled the power of the 9 tails. Even the eyes of the Mangekyo level could hardly affect her. She had reached the level of the first generation of Hokage and Uchiha Madara. Facing such an existence, they could hardly match it even if they had the Mangekyo, unless they could have the eyes that Uchiha Madara had back then. How did you get those eyes? Looking at the gray eyes on the shelf, Uchiha Liang had infinite desire and doubts in his heart. How did Uchiha Madara get those eyes back then? They have done some research experiments over the years, but none of them succeeded. They were not obtained by transplanting blood relatives' eyes. There should be deeper reasons. Unfortunately, only Uchiha Madara knew the reason, and Uchiha Madara had been killed by the first Hokage, and even his body was taken away by the second Hokage. After watching for a long time and finally sighing, Uchiha Liang turned and left. But what he didn't know was that there was another person who came in with him, who could be considered a person. Not bad nourishment. Black Zetsu emerged from the shadows and was very satisfied with the dense Sharingan. He knew that the Uchiha family had a rule to take the eyes of deceased clansmen, and even others would take the eyes away as soon as they killed Uchiha ninjas. Even if they didn't transplant them themselves, they could sell them at a good price in the gold exchange. The gold exchange has always offered a bounty for Sharingan and Byakugan, especially Byakugan with less side effects. But he was only interested in Indra's reincarnation and Mangekyo, and had no idea about these Magatama Sharingan. But now his brother really needs these Sharingan as nourishment to enhance the power of the little 10 tails and his mother, so he separated a part of his body and came here to seize them in person, but he didn't expect to find an opportunity so soon. Without delay, a sealing scroll appeared from his body, and everything here was sealed and packed away. It's just right to put the blame on Shimura Danzo. Now that the Sharingan sent by Shimura Danzo has just been deposited, and then the secret vault was robbed, Uchiha Liang will definitely suspect Shimura Danzo. Although this place is shrouded by a barrier, outsiders cannot come in quietly, but it cannot stop space ninjutsu, such as the Flying Thunder God technique of Senju Tobarama. As disciples of Senju Tobarama, it is reasonable for Shimura Danzo and his companions to have the practice inheritance of the Flying Thunder God technique. Even if they can't practice it themselves, they can find someone to practice it. Then leave the spell on those Sharingans or bottles, and then they can come in. Everything is so reasonable. Just as my younger brother said, if there is something wrong in Konoha, the blame can be put on Shimura Danzo. There is no blame that Shimura Danzo can't bear. After collecting all the things, Black Zetsu performed the summoning technique to summon a rabbit and merged himself into it. Not long after, the main body performed the summoning technique again to summon the rabbit, and the split followed and merged into the main body. It's a pity that the body of Hashirama Senju was sealed by Uzumaki Mito himself, and there is no way to get it without alerting her. Black Zetsu looked at the direction of Konoha with regret. He wanted to get the body of Hashirama Senju more, which was the best supplement for his mother and the little 10 tails. It's a pity that Hashirama Senju's body was sealed by Uzumaki Mito himself. Although he can break the seal, it will definitely be sensed by Uzumaki Mito. Now is not the time to expose himself, and Uzumaki Mito will not live for a few years, so just wait a few years. Without stopping, he merged into the ground and quickly sneaked towards the direction of the hidden cloud village. Originally, his plan was only infinite Tsukuyomi, but now he has a younger brother and even saw the phantom of his mother. Although that phantom could not nurture the Samsara Sharingan, it could also provide a force to push at a critical moment, and the chance of success would be much greater. Tamura Hao didn't know what was going on in Konoha. After he returned to Kumogakure with the fleet, he transformed into the appearance of the son of the Raikage, Yui, and walked through various important departments to sense those people with evil intentions. No matter what the reason, position, or identity of that kind of person is, Tutai will arrange people to monitor them. Soon he came to the research department, where he found several people who had evil intentions towards Yui, and some people with strange thoughts. What's wrong? Seeing that Tamura Hao's face suddenly changed after he walked out of a laboratory, Tutai's expression also became solemn. The person who led the research on the chakra cannon is not right. Tamura Hao said solemnly. That person was very wrong. The little 10 tails and the phantom of Kagaya in the sealed space actually reacted to him at the same time. This was the first time he encountered it. This laboratory studies the chakra cannon, which is the one that the Kumogakure will reveal in the future to deal with the lunar crisis. Of course, it is still just a project. It has just been launched for a short time. The chakra cannon has only made a main frame, and there are still many difficulties to be overcome. Yui and Fukai, who followed behind with the transformation technique, changed their expressions slightly. Is that man also a spy? Are you sure? Dodai's expression became more solemn. This is not a good thing. Bring him out alone so that I can sense him. There must be something wrong with him. Tamura Hao was extremely sure and very curious. What on earth could that man have caused the Kagaya shadow and the little 10 tails to react at the same time? Wait for Dr. Oz to get off work and knock him out on the road. Don't expose him. I can say that he was attacked by a spy later. Dodai thought seriously for a while and finally said something to Fukai. Fukai nodded to show that he understood. Tamura Hao said nothing more and continued to walk around the research department in the guise of Yui until night fell. He followed Dodai to a secret room. Fukai had already come here with the unconscious Dr. Oz to wait. Tamura Hao stepped forward and connected his own chakra with the little 10 tails and Kagaya shadow, using it to carefully sense the other party's body, and finally focused his eyes on the other party's head. He raised his hand and pressed it on the other party's forehead, carefully inputting chakra, and soon found the source of the abnormality of Kagaya's phantom and the little 10 tail. It was an extremely small and obscure curse seal, hidden in the deepest part of the brain, and the breath revealed made Tiankyun Hao very familiar. Otsutsuki Ashiki. There is no mistake. The breath of this chakra is exactly the same as the breath of Otsutsuki Ashiki's branded phantom. He has felt it countless times. There is a very obscure curse seal deep in his brain. The chakra quality is very high. It feels higher than the chakra of the 9 tail. Releasing his palm, Tianqunhao said solemnly, without touching the curse seal. He could not decide the life and death and role of this person, and it was enough to know that the other party had the curse seal formed by Otsutsuki Ashiki's chakra, which was enough for him to guess the other party's identity. In Boruto, the Kara organization established by Ashiki Otsutsuki is revealed. That organization is very hidden and has connections with major forces in the ninja world, including the 5 major ninja villages. The members are called outer formations and they lead the research of various technologies. The high-tech type of the Kumogakure chakra cannon, a killer weapon, will definitely be of interest to the other party. The chakra seal is higher than the chakra of the 9 tails. The faces of the 3 people of Dodai were gloomy, and they knew that there was a big problem. They naturally couldn't create a seal for their own people, not to mention that they used a power higher than the chakra of the 9 tails. There was no such person in the Kumogakure. So who is the person behind the scenes? How many people are controlled by the seal? I will report this to the 3rd generation. Don't tell anyone and don't show any abnormality. Dodai thought for a long time and felt that it would be better to suppress this matter first. Now the main thing is the matter of the Ninja World War, and it is not appropriate to provoke other powerful enemies. Tamura Hao and the other 2 responded with a solemn expression, and then left. There is no need for them to intervene in the future, Tudai and the Sandaime will handle it. There are too many secrets hidden in the ninja world. Fukai was worried after walking out of the Raikage building. The only 2 legends of Konoha in the past should have higher chakra quality than the 9 tails. Yui guessed in a low voice, maybe those 2 people are not dead. It's different, not the chakra and pupil power of the Senju clan and the Uchiha clan. Tamura Hao shook his head. Otsutsuki Ashiki's is pure chakra, which is different from the pupil power of the Sharingan and the chakra of the Senju clan. That's more troublesome, Yui complained, and now the trouble is even greater. There is no need to worry too much. The other party has done so secretly that it is definitely not convenient to expose. There should be no problem in a short time. Tamura Hao didn't care too much. Otsutsuki Ashiki's goal was to find a suitable instrument to carry his own contract to complete the perfect reincarnation. Now let alone Kawaki, even Kawaki's father should not be born yet. Before getting the perfect weapon, Otsutsuki Ashiki will definitely not let the Kara organization be exposed. But we have to fight each other in the end. Yui is still worried. Their current goal is to unify the whole world. Those strong people hiding in the dark, even the forces, will definitely not agree. In the end, they will inevitably fight each other. When I think of the chakra quality that exceeds the tailed beast, my head hurts. I'm afraid it's also a super strong person at the level of the 1st generation of Hokage. That's for the future, and there are tall people to hold up the sky when it falls. Our current small bodies are not the tallest in the hidden cloud village. Tamura Hao comforted him, saying that there was no need to worry too much about it, and that he should just do what he should do now. It was useless to think too much. I'm going to practice. Yui clenched his fists and left, ready to work harder to practice, at least to surpass his father. Fukai didn't stay long, and he also had to work harder to practice. From the fact that the 3 of them received precious medicinal baths together, it can be seen that Raikage-sama has high hopes for them. The 3 of them are the pillars of the village in the future. Especially himself and his cousin. Ahao is limited by his own chakra qualifications, and it will be difficult to improve in the future. Only he and his cousin can provide combat power to protect the village. After parting with the 2, Tamura Hao did not go home immediately, but bought some flowers and fruits, as well as a bowl of 8 treasure porridge and took them to the hospital. Miss Kurula, are you feeling better today? Coming to a ward, Tamura Hao put down his things, took out the rice porridge and opened it, and a fragrance filled the air. Lying on the bed was Kurula, but she looked very miserable, with her whole body wrapped in bandages, revealing only one eye and her nostrils and mouth. Kurula was found in the ruins of the hidden cloud village by them. She suffered severe burns and both legs were blown off, but she was still breathing, so they saved her and brought her back to the hidden cloud village. Kurula on the bed had no reaction, and her only remaining eye was dead silent, and her heart was numb. She knew her injuries and appearance, and her life was over, especially with large areas of burns on her skin. Even if she recovered, she would only become an ugly monster. This was undoubtedly a fatal blow to a woman, and her heart was dead. Seeing the girl's despair and silence, Tianqunhao persuaded her. Life is only a few decades long, and the most important thing is to be happy. Don't despair. You still have a long way to go in the future, and everything is possible. Although you are disfigured, you have become a one-eyed dragon, and you have lost your legs. Your internal organs have been eaten by poisonous insects to varying degrees. You may have to be paralyzed in bed for the rest of your life. Tamura Hao told the girl about her current situation and future life, and the originally numb Jalo couldn't help but turn his eyes. Are you comforting me? I know my situation very well, and you don't need to tell me. Obviously, I was quite cute and funny at the beginning. Seeing that the girl finally responded, Tianqunhao changed the subject and continued to speak. I have read the information about the first-generation Hokage of Konoha, and found that he has an extremely terrifying self-healing ability. He can recover quickly from physical injuries, even if his arms are cut off or even cut in half, he can recover. He can be called immortal. That is to say, this is the level that chakra and ninjutsu can reach, but it takes time to study and understand the secrets inside. Hearing this, the girl's originally numb heart has a little more light. Can it still recover? But soon the light disappeared, and Garura said hoarsely, "You don't need to comfort me. The power of the first-generation Hokage is just a legend. Even Konoha has never had that kind of power again, let alone others. It can be seen from the fact that Konoha has never had a figure like the first-generation Hokage again, that kind of power is just an illusory legend. Untouchable. I really don't have the talent to persuade people." Seeing that the girl became numb and silent again, Tamura Hao couldn't help but complain, and then changed to a devilish and crazy expression. "I order you to cheer up and start a new life, otherwise I will strip you naked and take photos, and send the photos to Luo Sha by express delivery. I don't know what kind of expression and mood Luo Sha will have when he sees you now. I'm really looking forward to it. And your parents and relatives, they should be very desperate, right? Now they know that you are dead. When they know that you are alive and have become so ugly and weird, they will be sad and sad for the second time. I don't know how your parents are doing and whether they can bear it. What if?" Tamura Hao imagined with a villain's perverted face that Master Lu once said that the most efficient way to get out of the current pain is to create a bigger pain to cover it, which is much better than the deception. And this made Jalo stare, and he never thought that a person's style would change so quickly and so much. "Is this a replacement?" After a while, she calmed down a little. Karura said resolutely, "What do you want from me? I won't tell you the secrets of sand manipulation and the village." She didn't know whether what this person said was true or not, and she didn't even know who this person's true face was, but she didn't dare to gamble. She didn't want Luasha and her parents to know her ugly appearance now, and she didn't want to make them sad. The girl's surrender made Tamura Hao very satisfied, and at the same time he was impressed by the superb means of the old leader Danzo. In the future, Danzo used tough and despicable means to force Yakushi Nono to continue working. Now he is using it in the same way and the effect is immediate. Sure enough, I am the one who inherited the true teachings of Danzo, and the second generation of the root in the future will definitely be me, Tamura Nichi. We have already known the secret technique of sand manipulation by using illusion and drugs while you were asleep, and we also know a lot of secrets of the sand village. As for me, I want to open a store that specializes in helping disabled people make custom puppet prostheses. You seem to know a little bit of puppetry. After you are discharged from the hospital, make yourself a pair of puppet legs first, and then go to my store to work and make money for me." Showing his side as a capitalist, his strongest ability now is money ability, and the more of this thing, the better. He wants to get involved in any business that can make money, and the business of disabled people is definitely not bad. And the Second Ninja World War is about to begin, and there will definitely be a lot of disabled people after the war. These are all high-quality customers. At the same time, as long as Garura survives, it will be a change to the plot itself. For him, it is the power of destiny. It's a win-win situation. It's just a prosthesis that makes life easier, okay. After a long silence, Garura finally gave in. Although she is not a puppeteer, she has some understanding of puppeteers. It is not difficult to simply make some prostheses that are convenient for life. But suddenly I realized something was wrong. Looking at the person who had finished a bowl of hot porridge, one couldn't help but blink my eyes in a silly way. Isn't this hot porridge for me? This 8 treasure porridge tastes more and more like my hometown. After finishing a bowl of 8 treasure porridge, Tiankyun Hao was very savoring, and then took out a glass bottle filled with black and red sticky blood. The Uzumaki clan has a special physique. Their own blood contains amazing vitality and can help others recover from injuries. This is what I extracted from a corpse, and the poisonous insects inside have been removed. Although the effect is not as good as fresh blood, the amount is not small, and it should be enough for you to recover quickly. This is one of the good things found in the hidden village of Uzushio before, and it is very effective. And after returning to the village, I asked a special person to check it and brought it to make sure there was no problem. I won't drink it. Looking at the black and red sticky blood, Jalo was full of resistance. That's the blood of a dead person, too disgusting. Your injuries, such as severe burns all over your body and internal organs eaten by poisonous insects, are not so easy to recover. Be obedient, be good, and open your mouth. Tamura Hao simply persuaded her, stretched out his hand to pinch the girl's cheek and opened her mouth, ignoring her resistance and struggle, and forced the smelly blood into her, and even integrated chakra into it for drainage. This is for Garura's good. The burns on her body are fine, at most she will become a mummy like the second-generation Tsuchikage, but the internal organs eaten by poisonous insects are not so easy to recover. Even if they are barely recovered, they will leave the root of the disease. This kind of injury can only be solved by cheating at this stage. This kind of blood of the Uzumaki clan is really powerful. It didn't take long for Garura's injuries to recover after drinking it. Except for the legs that could not regenerate, other injuries recovered very well, and even the burned skin recovered to a certain extent, at least there was no distortion. After recovering, Karura turned over and vomited into the trash can beside the bed, spitting out the smelly blood that had absorbed his life force. Tamura Hao was not surprised by this. This was the main reason why he did not bring dinner to Karura. Even if he ate, he would vomit it out. And I believe that this person will not have an appetite in the short term. After vomiting for a long time, until all the acid was vomited out, Karura collapsed on the bed with a look of despair. Tamura Hao helped him remove the bandage wrapped around his head, revealing his bald head and face. Although he recovered well, it still looked unnatural. I'm afraid this injury can only be healed by cultivating the power of Yang. Looking at the girl's skin, Tamura Hao thought of Uzumaki Naruto, who would gain the power of Yang in the future. He would be able to recover his physical injuries and save Might Guy, and even create another eye for Hatake Kakashi. It's a pity that the Six-Paths Sage was too stingy and took back the Yang power in the end. Otherwise, with the blessing of Yang power, Uzumaki Naruto could regenerate the arm broken by Sasuke by himself in the later period. The structure of the eyes is much more complicated than the arms. If even the eyes can regenerate, it is not difficult to regenerate the arms. Similarly, if you want to help Karura recover, you can only start with the Yang power. Rinse your mouth, I'll take you to go through the discharge procedures. Handing over a cup of hot water, Tamura Hao didn't plan to stay here any longer. You are so good at disguise. Staring at a hateful kid, Karura took the cup of water and rinsed his mouth angrily. When I was in the Hidden Cloud Village, I had a good impression of this kid, but who would have thought that his heart was so evil and despicable? Thank you for the compliment. Tamura Hao expressed his gratitude, and then walked over to open the window to let the fishy smell inside dissipate, and then picked up the trash can and went to the bathroom to wash it. You live here for the time being. I have already bought this apartment building. All the original residents have moved out. We are currently hiring someone to renovate it. It will take some time. After it is completed, you can choose one to live in. I have puppets collected in the Uzushiogakur village. You can pick some and make them into legs. Carrying Karuro back home, Tamura Hao took out a sealed scroll and unwrapped it, revealing a large number of puppets. These were found in the ruins of the Uzushiogakur village, and even Chiyo's 10 kinmatsu. It's a pity that most of them were broken, and the platform was ignored after someone studied it. Even Chiyo's 10 kinmatsu was broken. Looking at the broken 10 kinmatsu, Karuro couldn't help but worry, wondering what happened to Yikang and Luo Sha. You can do it yourself, I'm going to take a shower. After saying that, Tamura Hao walked to the bathroom. He went to a lot of places today, and the smell of some places was not very good. He had a lot of stains on his body, so he had to wash it well. After scrubbing for more than 10 minutes, he walked out and saw that Jalo had already selected the puppet legs for himself and even practiced walking in the living room by holding the wall. These are the toiletries I bought before. Don't touch my toiletries. I'm a bit of a germaphobe. Handing over a set of toiletries and a few sets of clothes he had bought before, Tianqunhao signaled him to go in and wash. Jalo was still wrapped in medical bandages, which were full of liquid medicine, and the smell was not very good. I have germophobia too. Glazing at someone with hatred, Jalo picked up the toiletries and a set of clothes and walked to the bathroom, feeling even more angry. I really misjudged him last time. I didn't expect this kid to be so hateful. It's so annoying. Walking into the bathroom in such annoyance, Jalo first rinsed the bathtub with water, then slowly drained the water, and walked to the big mirror and hesitated for a long time before taking off the medical bandages on his body. As the medical bandage was untied, the scarred skin inside was revealed. Looking at himself in the mirror, Garula lost the courage to live again. What's the point of living like this? Click. At this moment, the tightly closed bathroom door suddenly opened, and Tamura Hao walked in with a bulky camera in his hand and took a series of photos of Garula. In order to prevent you from having the idea of committing suicide again, or even destroying your body, I will take pictures now. Don't do stupid things, otherwise I will send your pictures to Luasha and others. After taking the pictures, Tamura Hao seemed very righteous. He did this to prevent the other party from having the idea of committing suicide again. As for how to open the locked bathroom door, extend the chakra line from the door gap to pull the bolt to open the door. Garula, who came to his senses, was so angry that his body trembled, and he glared at the hateful kid with gritted teeth. Thank you for your kindness. I have no intention of committing suicide for the time being. Also, please get out now. Immediately. Right now. She had never seen such a hateful kid since she was a child. That's good. Seeing that the girl did not seem to be in a state of despair, Tianqunhao left with satisfaction and closed the bathroom door. As for the camera in his hand, he put it back into the utility room. This is indeed a camera, but it has run out of film a long time ago, and he is too lazy to buy one. He just pretended to have something to hold against Karura. From this point of view, women are really troublesome. They want to die if their faces are destroyed. They don't respect their lives. He was too lazy to bother to fool her, so he adopted this simple and crude method. As long as the goal is achieved, the method is secondary. This is the thinking of a ninja. Of course, the main reason for not buying the film was to leave it as a foreshadowing. If Jalo accidentally saw the camera without film and not really used, the resentment in her heart would definitely dissipate, and even turn into a favorable impression. Many novels and animations have similar plots in film and television dramas, which is also the best routine for villains to whitewash. After a full hour, Jalo just walked out of the bathroom. She had changed into a dress and her walking posture was much more natural. I collected some sand where I found you. It should be you who refined it with the secret technique of sand manipulation. Later, you can find some more sand to refine and cover your body, so that others will not look at you with strange eyes, and you will feel better in your heart. Tamura Hao threw a glass bottle over, with most of the bottle of sand in it. Raising his hand to catch the bottle, Jalo was very happy to feel his own chakra in the sand. He quickly opened the bottle and used chakra to reconnect with the sand inside, pulling it out to cover his head, and soon restored his previous appearance. She had always used refined sand to cover her skin before, and she was used to this state. If there was enough sand to cover the whole body, she would not have to care about other people's eyes, and at least she could live a normal life without worries. How did you think of treating the Uzumaki ninja? Tamura Hao asked curiously. According to the illusion Jonin who explored Garura's memory, this girl mainly controlled the sand to bring the injured down as soon as possible in that battle, whether it was the ninjas from the Sand Village or the Uzushio village. This is very un-ninja. Although I can't change the village's decision, I know that the battle was not right. After a moment of silence, Karura said something, feeling very complicated. She didn't feel it before, but this time she participated in the war of actively invading other people's homes, and seeing the hateful eyes of the Uzumaki ninja, she felt very uncomfortable. When she was in the ninja school, She was always taught to protect the village, and she always kept it in mind, but she gradually discovered that the existence of ninjas was not as beautiful as she thought. She has always regarded protecting the village as her own ninja way, even sacrificing her own life for this, but this time she became a villain who invaded other people's villages. Can you invade and destroy other people's villages and homes in order to protect the village? I knew that Miss Karura was so gentle, and she was really not suitable for the ninja business. Tamura Hao smiled, which was in line with Karura's personality. What is the meaning of ninja existence? What is the meaning of ninja village? I thought I knew this very well before, but now I find that I didn't see it clearly. Why must there be war in the ninja world? Karura was confused. The previous war broke the ninja way she insisted on, which was also one of the main reasons for her numbness and silence before. Taking an apple and taking a bite, Tamura Hao said. The problems in the ninja world are very complicated, and the reasons for war are also various. From the most superficial level, the strong side starts the war because of ambition and want to get more. The weak side wants to protect itself under the attack of the strong side, coupled with some unrealistic ambitions, so it can only try every means to strengthen itself and weaken the enemy, and then there will be bloody and cruel wars again and again. In the war, the boundary between right and wrong will be very vague. Just like the saying goes, the enemy's hero is my enemy, different positions, different cognition. War has been understood by countless people in the previous life. The essence is the same. Everything is just an extension of interests. At most, the expression of interests is different, which is also applicable in this world. Is there a way to avoid war? After thinking for a while, Karura asked. He didn't like war very much. It would bring too many tragedies. Although this kid is hateful, he is really smart. After they went back last time, they told him everything they saw and heard in the Hidden Cloud village. Even Master Ebizo praised this hateful kid. Does he know how to avoid war? Tamura Hao finished eating the apple, and then said, of course there are ways to avoid war. The first generation of Hokage and Uchiha Madara did it back then, that is, to cover all wars with a bigger war and suppress everything with absolute strength. Then formulate laws that can cover everything and let everyone abide by them. As for relying on understanding between people to achieve peace, it can't be said to be nonsense, but it's almost the same, because not everyone is kind in their hearts. And the law is the bottom line of morality and kindness. Nowadays, because there is no perfect bottom line, including the bottom line that can restrain those so-called high-level people, they can launch various wars according to their own ideas, bring pain to others, and build their own happiness and gains on the pain of others. For example, the war launched by the three major ninja villages, including Konoha, against the Uzumaki clan this time is just for their own interests. The first generation of Hokage and Uchiha Madara had that kind of invincible power back then, but it was a pity that they did not unify the ninja world, especially the first generation of Hokage. Chose the current ninja village system, and wanted to achieve peace through understanding between people, ninja villages, and countries. As a result, you can see that the First Ninja World War broke out immediately after his death. The scale of the war exceeded any battle in the Warring States period, affecting the entire ninja world, directly and indirectly causing countless casualties, and causing great pain to the entire world. Now the Second Ninja World War has begun, and the Uzumaki clan has become the first sacrifice, and this is just the beginning. After the Second Ninja World War, there will be the third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, endlessly, and each time will cause countless tragedies and misfortunes. As long as the ninja village system is still there, the war will not stop. This is the current situation in the ninja world. Quote, avoiding war is actually not difficult. The ancestors in the previous life showed the method clearly, which is unification. Unfortunately, the laws and systems formulated by our ancestors at that time were not perfect, and there were privileges, which eventually evolved into loopholes, leading to the internal decay and collapse of the entire country. Including the Song and Ming dynasties, which were destroyed by foreign races, they were not destroyed by foreign races, but by their own people. Look at the early days of the two dynasties. They were able to press foreign races to the ground, but they were weak in the end and were found opportunities for foreign races to break in. So the idea of great unification is correct. After that, we only need to formulate strict laws and systems to maintain it for a long time, at least for a few hundred years. As for the five-village fight, it is even less of a problem. You, the Hidden Cloud Village, want to unify the ninja world. Karura understood and was also shocked that the Hidden Cloud Village's ambition was so big. What are you shocked about? We are not the only ones who have this idea. The 5 major ninja villages all have this idea, and they all know that this is the real path to peace. Rolling his eyes, Tianqun Hao knew that this girl had not adjusted her mentality and position, and was still thinking about things as a ninja from the Hidden Sand Village. Is it the only way? After thinking for a while, Garura didn't like this idea, because it would kill many people. If you can convince the people of the 5 major ninja villages to give up everything and merge the 5 major ninja villages into one village, that would be fine. Tamura Hao said a very unreliable idea, and then Garura was silent. This was absolutely impossible to do. Standing up, Tamura Hao said indifferently, "These are not things you and I should think about. The strong are respected in the ninja world. The reason why the first generation of Hokage was able to convene the 5 Shadow Conference and let other ninja villages listen to his ideas was because he had invincible strength. It's useless to think more without strength. What you have to do now is to adjust your body and mind as soon as possible, and then go to work in the store I opened and make money for me. Your room is that one, and there are beddings in the cabinet inside." At the end, he pointed to an empty room and then walked towards his room. Lying on the bed, he took out the Thunder God sword and continued to practice the nature change of the Thunder attribute. It was only a preliminary practice before, and it needs to be further expanded, or even achieve a qualitative change, forming the Black Thunder like the 3rd generation Raikage, or the Purple Thunder of the future Kakashi. He practiced until 10 o'clock and went to bed on time. He woke up on time at 8 o'clock the next day, and then he saw a black thing lying on his abdomen, and there was a large scroll next to the pillow. It contains the heritage of the Uchiha clan, and there are many Sharingans. Pointing to the sealed scroll and saying something, Black Zetsu didn't plan to stay any longer. He still had a lot of things to do, but was stopped by Tamura Hao. "Is Otsutsuki Ashiki really dead?" "Huh." Black Zetsu was stunned, not understanding why his brother suddenly said that. "Yesterday, I used the sense of good and evil to assist in searching for spies in the village. I found a person in the research department with an extremely obscure curse seal in his brain. It was the chakra of Ashiki Otsutsuki, an extremely pure one." Speaking of yesterday's discovery, although I don't think the Kara organization will suddenly jump out, I have to be prepared and investigate, and there are also many good things in the Kara organization, especially high-end science and technology, which is far ahead of the ninja world. And Black Zetsu is most suitable for this kind of thing, especially when Uchiha Madara gets the 100,000 white Zetsu out in the future, it will be enough to set up spies throughout the world. Black Zetsu's eyes are on the tailed beasts and the 5 major ninja villages, but he doesn't pay much attention to other forces, otherwise he would have discovered the existence of the Kara organization long ago. Black Zetsu fell into deep thought. He didn't think his brother would lie, which meant that Ashiki Otsutsuki was really still alive. It was unlikely for anyone else, but it was hard to say for Ashiki Otsutsuki. He should have been reborn with the help of the contract, but it must be incomplete, otherwise he would have appeared to harvest chakra long ago. With the guess, Black Zetsu knew that he had one more enemy. What a headache. Ashiki Otsutsuki is too dangerous for us in the ninja world. We can't deal with him now, but the 6 Paths Sage should be able to, and it can also distract the attention of both sides. Tamura Hao made a suggestion. Let Ashiki Otsutsuki and the 6 Paths Sage fight each other, which will definitely produce a big change. This is the income of the power of destiny. That makes sense. For the sake of the ninja world, we can only let them fight. Black Zetsu smiled and agreed with this proposal. He deserved to be trained by a person like Danzo Shimura. The other party must have more than one person under their control, and it's not just the Hidden Cloud Village. I only found that one person in the Hidden Cloud Village, who is leading the research of the chakra cannon. Maybe the other party is interested in high technology. There are many forces in the world that engage in scientific research. You should be able to gain something if you go and have a look. Tamura Hao gave a suggestion. The Kara organization is a high-tech force that specializes in scientific research. It is estimated that all scientific research forces in the world at this stage are related to the other party. Both of them are so hidden. I really look forward to the scene of them fighting each other. With a sinister smile, Heiju is looking forward to it. Also, the summoned beast Umaru who used illusion to interrogate the third-generation Hokage before had a fragment in his memory. In the Warring States period, an ultimate weapon appeared in Uchiha, named Wuming, which caused great damage to the Senju clan and the Sarutobi clan. In the end, they jointly sealed it, and Umaru also participated in the battle. That was the awakener of the Mangekyo Sharingan. Do you know where they fought in the end? Tamura Hao is quite familiar with this plot, but he doesn't know if it is that one. If so, they would have a Mangekyo Uchiha on their side. But Tsurumo was summoned to fight temporarily, and was injured and returned to the summoning world not long after. He didn't know the specific battle location, so he could only ask Black Zetsu about this. This guy has been secretly watching Uchiha, so he must know. Chapter 71. You should be talking about Uchiha Hikari. She is a test subject that I induced Uchiha to do. I transplanted another pair of Mangekyo pupil techniques into her eyes, hoping to make the Mangekyo evolve, but unfortunately it failed. Black Zetsu replied. He had an impression of that test subject. I saw that the little girl had awakened the Mangekyo Sharingan early, and I thought she had enough qualifications, so I tried it, but unfortunately it didn't work, and I didn't pay attention to it anymore. At that time, the battle between the Uchiha and Senju clans was mainly concentrated in the upper reaches of the Jinlu River. If it was sealed, there should be some residue. How many pairs of Mangekyo does Uchiha have now? Tamura Hao asked again. The existence of Uchiha Hikari made him unable to determine which version of this real Naruto world was. In anime, Mangekyo is very rare, but in the animated version, especially in the segment where Uchiha Itachi talks about Izanami, several pairs of Mangekyo appeared, and there was also the appearance of Konoha Forehead Protector, proving that it was after the establishment of Konoha. These need to be confirmed as soon as possible. 5 pairs, among which you need to be most careful of Uchiha Yuri. Her pupil power is very close to Madara's pupil power in the Mangekyo period, and her pupil technique is not even known to me, and I have never seen her use it. And she is very talented in the development of techniques, and in this respect, she is not even worse than Indra who created the hand seal. She is the strongest Uchiha now. Uchiha Yuri. Hearing that name, Tiankyun Hao's heart jumped. Is it really there? That is a super boss who can create the ultimate pupil technique, which is indeed very dangerous. 5 pairs of Mangekyo, Uchiha is a bit strong. Tamura Hao felt a little incredible. He originally thought that there were only 1 or 2 pairs hidden, but who would have thought that there were 5 pairs? But if you think about the future plot, it makes sense. At that time, Uchiha had 4 pairs of Mangekyo, Uchiha Fugaku, Uchiha Shisui, Uchiha Itachi and Uchiha Sasuke. At this stage, Uchiha is at its most prosperous. After the recuperation of the ninja village era, the population size has increased a lot. It has not experienced the weakening of World War II and World War III, and the pit calculation of Konoha F4. It is at its peak. It is not difficult to understand that it has 5 pairs of Mangekyo. The 9 Tails Jinchuriki is stronger. I guess she should be able to use the 9 Jones Kongo seal now. Black Absolute was afraid of the wife of the first-generation Hokage, because the 9 Tails is the most special tailed beast, and its strength is much stronger than other tailed beasts. Otherwise, Uchiha Madara would not have chosen to tame the 9 Tails to fight against the first-generation Hokage. The wife of the first-generation Hokage was able to tame the 9 Tails and obtain its power. With the addition of the Vortex Seal technique, her combat power is definitely not worse than Uchiha Madara at his peak. As for the peak period of Senju Hashirama, it was too unfair. The main reason was that in that battle, Senju Hashirama used desperate secret techniques and overloaded his vitality, so he died a few years after that battle, while Uchiha Madara is still alive now. Otherwise, with Senju Hashirama's vast life force, it would definitely not be a problem to live over 100 years. 9-tailed Jinchuriki. Tamura Hao suddenly realized that Uzumaki Mito's combat power standard could not be compared with Uzumaki Naruto, because he could use sealing techniques and could exert the power of the 9-tail to the extreme, which was far beyond the reach of Uzumaki Naruto who only knew 1 Rasengan. Uzumaki Naruto was just a miracle with great force, relying on huge chakra to fight hard with others, far inferior to Uzumaki Mito who could use power delicately. And if Uzumaki Mito could use the Kongo seal for 9 times, his strength would be really terrifying. On the way back from the land of whirlpools by boat, he read a lot of classics of the Uzumaki clan, including the description of the Congo seal. The diamond seal is the most fundamental and strongest power of the Uzumaki clan, and it is also the standard for measuring strength. The more diamond seals that can be used, the stronger the strength. But even Uzumaki Masahiko can only use 5 of them, and in the original plot of the Nine Tails Rebellion, Uzumaki Kushina can also only use 5 of them. But Uzumaki Mito can now use 9 of them, and her strength is 4 levels higher. Compared with this person, Uchiha's Mangekyo is really not worth mentioning. The Mangekyo is not powerful, what is powerful is Indra's chakra. The Mangekyo is just the key to open and use Indra's chakra. The Mangekyo eye technique of ordinary people can only be used a few times, especially the ultimate eye technique Susanoo, which can only be opened to the 2nd stage at most. It has the power comparable to the shadow, but it cannot last long, and it may even overdraw life. It is not very strong. Black Zetsu doesn't think much of the Mangekyo of ordinary people, and his strength is just like that. That's not so good. Tamura Hao thought about how the future Nisukako was going to go blind after fighting with Danzo-sama, and he could understand this. Even Nisukako, who was the reincarnation of Indra's chakra, couldn't last long, let alone others. No wonder Uchiha Fugaku was still so timid even though he had the Mangekyo. Even though the Nine Tails Rebellion had greatly reduced Konoha's strength, he still didn't dare to show up. It seems that he had some self-knowledge. And even Uchiha Itachi, in the end, his body was dragged down by the pair of Mangekyo. When he fought with Uchiha Sasuke in the Pacific Ocean, he was mostly using illusions to support himself. In the end, he used Susanoo and then died. Sure enough, the foundation of all power is chakra, and everything else is just appearance. Tamura Hao understood that in the end, it was still chakra that mattered. The reason why Nisukako and Uzumaki Naruto were so powerful was based on the chakra of Indra and Ashura. Even if the future 6-path sage gave them cheats, he would use chakra. Black Zetsu said solemnly, "From a high level, it is like this. According to the memory inheritance left by my mother, the bloodline level of the Otsutsuki clan is extremely strict, and the upper class suppresses the lower class a lot. Just like the Sharingan and wood release can suppress other ninjas, even if the strength level is the same, they will be suppressed. This may be the purpose of my mother creating you." He has been thinking about the meaning of this brother's existence and the purpose of his mother these days, and finally he has some guesses. This may be an attempt by my mother to create an existence other than the Otsutsuki. If it can be cultivated, it can avoid the suppression of the Otsutsuki bloodline, so that it can fight against the future Otsutsuki clan members well. Then I have to practice harder. Tamura Hao was full of confidence, and he also looked at the sealed scroll brought by Black Zetsu, looking forward to it. The most precious thing inside is the Sakakariya sword. Black Zetsu gave a final reminder, and then sank into the ground, ready to investigate those forces engaged in scientific research. It would have been fine if he hadn't known before, but now that he knows, he will definitely get something if he searches for it in a targeted way. Your smile is so ugly, it's like a villain. I really don't understand how a beautiful sister can have such a child. It must not be her biological child. After rescuing her, let her go back to the furnace for a retraining, otherwise it would be too embarrassing to stand together. Tamura Hao couldn't help but complain. Black Zetsu's image and personality are really the material for a natural villain. Even if he has to hypnotize himself to accept the other party's image, the most important thing is to hypnotize his own cognition and treat Kagaya's phantom as his sister. Only by deceiving himself can he deceive Black Zetsu, an old monster who has lived for thousands of years. He even suspected that the other party must have left means of surveillance around him, and he must not reveal any flaws. What Tamura Hao guessed was correct. Black Zetsu did leave a clone watching from a distance and heard his complaints. My mother gave me this look, what can I do? The clone looked down at its dark appearance and was gloomy. Back then, my mother didn't have much power, so she could only shape herself into this appearance. However, he was still very pleased with his brother's intention to rescue their mother. The two brothers would definitely be able to rescue their mother together. Of course, he had to better assist his brother to embark on the path of autonomous fusion of the bloodline system, and not covet his mother's power like Yuya did. Tamura Hao did not leave the room immediately, but first unseal the sealed scroll, revealing a large number of small glass bottles, all of which contained 3 Magatama Sharingan, enough for hundreds of pairs. In addition, there were some other things, which were the treasures of the Uchiha clan that had been passed down for thousands of years, but they were unexpectedly packed up by Black Zetsu. It can only be said that he is worthy of being called Black Zetsu. That's reasonable. Looking at the hundreds of small bottles, Tamura was very satisfied with this. The Uchiha clan is different from the Hyuga clan. There is no caged bird curse seal that destroys the eyes after death, so the clan members will definitely dig out their eyes after death. After all, when the clan is exterminated in the future, even Uchiha Obito and Danzo know to dig out their eyes, so will the Uchiha themselves not do it? Before his death, Uchiha Obito gave his Sharingan to Hitaki Kakashi twice. And Sharingan is no longer an ordinary eye. With the protection of pupil power, suitable nutrient solution and refrigeration, it is not a problem to seal it for hundreds of years. It's a pity that it can't be sealed forever, otherwise there will definitely be more. Tamura was still a little greedy. The Uchiha clan was opened up by Indra and has lasted for thousands of years. It is also the top ninja clan in the ninja world, and there are many of them. There must be tens of thousands of clan members who have opened Sharingan in the past thousands of years. Even if they are just some Magatama Sharingan, the accumulated amount is extremely terrifying. It's a pity that Sharingan is not an object after all. It can't be sealed forever and will eventually rot. Wait, if I were the head of the Uchiha clan, I wouldn't watch these Sharingan rot like this, right? Suddenly reacted, and thought back to the last words of Black Zetsu, and had a guess in his heart. His eyes searched among those items, and soon a small fiery red gourd came into view. Sake Kari Tachi, 10-fisted sword. Tamura picked up the small gourd and thought. The name of Sake Kari Tachi is not widely known, but the 10-fisted sword is well known and is said to be the strongest Kusanagi sword. In this world, the Kusanagi sword is a school of swords made by the Kusanagi family, and only the top ones can be named Kusanagi sword. For example, the one that Orochimaru had and the one given to Nisukako are also called the 10-fisted sword. The 10-fisted sword is even more known as the strongest Kusanagi sword, and even Orochimaru covets and fears it. In the Naruto world, the 10-fisted sword is a wine gourd, so it is also called Sake Kari Tachi. That is the one that Uchiha Itachi's Susanoo manifested. Of course, the one that Uchiha Itachi's Susanoo manifested was made with Yin Dun, which is the yin power that is the source of the spiritual power that controls imagination and can create form from nothing. The eye technique of the Mangekyo and Susanoo are both products created by Yin Dun, but the one in front of me is a real object, probably the prototype of the Tenkan sword. To put it simply, it can be understood as an existence like the Six Paths ninja tools. It has the power to put the person stabbed into a dreamlike illusion world, and it also has the power to seal him permanently. Is there an illusion world inside? Looking at the Sakakari Itachi in his hand, Tamura made a seal to open the seal on his abdomen, and sealed all the Sharingan and Sakakari Itachi inside, and the rest was resealed in the sealing scroll. Consciousness entered the sealed space with chakra, and as soon as he came in, he saw the little 10-tail waving its little tail to actively break the bottles, absorbing the Sharingan inside, and even absorbing the nutrient solution completely, looking very happy. Kagaya's phantom embraced the little 10-tail and absorbed and refined the pupil power of the Sharingan together, and the Sharingan between the eyebrows became more and more solid. After devouring all the Sharingan, the little 10-tail aimed at the Sakakari sword, stretched out its 10 tails to wrap it around and hug it tightly, and suddenly a scarlet pupil power was extracted from it and swallowed by it. Although the quality of that pupil power was not high, it was terrifyingly huge, countless times larger than those Sharingan combined. Sure enough, the Uchiha clan sealed up the pupil power of the ancestors' Sharingan. Is it simply to collect the pupil power for something, or just to use it to enhance the power of the Sakakari sword? Tamura thought about it, and even thought of the giant reincarnation eye on the moon. I don't know if gathering countless Sharingans can make a giant Sharingan, or a giant Samsara eye. After thinking for a while, Tamura looked at the Kagaya phantom and the little 10-tail that had completed the absorption and refining. The development of Kagaya's phantom has now been able to independently refine those branded phantoms, including the one with the deepest and highest hidden level. Although the level of that is high, the trace of the brand is too thin, and the difficulty of refining is not high. Of course, it is mainly because Tamura Hao used the golden finger to crush the brand, making the shadow of Kagaya extremely pure, so that it can be distinguished and swallowed. Otherwise, the brand will be hidden in the deepest and will not be found at all. Just like the ninjas in the ninja world cannot find the brand of the Six Paths Sage in their own chakra. Too evil, it must be separated. Looking at the scarlet Sharingan of Kagaya's shadow and the little 10 tails, Tamura Hao's chakra is connected to it, controlling the separation of the evil part. Now Kagaya's shadow and the little 10 tails still have only instincts, which are much easier to control. Although both are not used to separating their own power, they did not resist. Soon, a stream of black and red negative energy was separated and sealed into the Sakari Tachi. This was no longer chakra, but the purest negative energy, mainly in terms of mental emotions. Without the influence of negative forces, Kagaya's phantom and the little 10-tailed Sharingan also changed from the previous scarlet to bright red, without the sinister and evil feeling. The pupil power of the Sharingan is extremely evil, on the one hand because of the bloodline, and on the other hand, it is opened and evolved with the help of negative emotions. Chakra is the product of the fusion of mental power and physical life force, and will be affected by two aspects. Mental evil will naturally affect chakra. For example, Orochimaru's chakra is very cold and evil, and then there is Zabuza, who is known as the demon man, whose chakra has changed color. The pupil power of the Sharingan is like this. Although this change makes the Sharingan powerful and can even evolve into a Mangekyo in the end, it will also affect the user in turn, so the strong men of Uchiha are often mentally ill. The deeper the disease, the stronger the strength. There are few normal people, and even those who are normal are not normal. For example, Uchiha Shisui, in the end, played himself to death. Uchiha Fugaku agreed with his son's weird ideas, and finally waited for death, taking the whole family to die. These ideas are too weird. He doesn't need this kind of evil power. After all, he will inevitably merge with the chakra of the little 10-tail and the shadow of Kagaya to save his life in the future. He doesn't want to create something negative and evil. Even like the tailed beast Jinchuriki, he loses control and runs away from time to time. Although there is a golden finger to protect the spiritual world, using the golden finger requires the consumption of destiny, which cannot be wasted casually. Danzo-sama should be interested in this kind of thing, and it can also be used to introduce Danzo-sama into the plan of infinite moon reading. But it has to be packaged and shaped, or make all the evil in this world. Looking at the Sake-Kari sword in his hand, Tamura Hao felt that the negative energy in it should be very suitable for Danzo-sama. The title of Ninja Dark is really not worthy of Danzo-sama's status, and it must evolve into Ninja Evil. It just so happens that I have Danzo-sama's arm in my hand, so I can use it as a foundation to improve the compatibility of this chakra with Danzo-sama, so that Danzo-sama can better carry and control it. This should also be considered an achievement, further gaining Danzo-sama's trust, and eventually becoming the most dazzling henchman under Danzo-sama, or even inheriting Danzo-sama's legacy and becoming the second generation of the root. You can also swallow some more things, such as the Paradise Box in the Ghost Lantern City. There are still many good treasures in this world, and Black Zetsu must find them. Thinking of the good things that appeared in Naruto, Tamura Hao was very jealous, and it took a while to suppress his greed. It still needs to develop slowly, don't rush. Looking at the phantom of Kagaya that has not yet solidified into a physical body and the small 10 tails, Tamura Hao knew that he couldn't rush and had to take it slowly. The eye power and eye techniques of the Mangekyo should be able to promote further improvement. It seems that I have to go find that Uchiha Hikaru. Thinking of the information that Black Zetsu said, Tamura Hao prepared to go and take a look. If that Uchiha Hikaru is still alive, it would be a big profit. Tamura Hao did what he thought. After arranging the work and store affairs of Kaluo, he told Fukai about his idea and then went to see the third Raikage. Teacher, it's called a position in the village. Hearing the teacher's address, the third Raikage's eyebrows jumped and corrected him severely. This disciple is very good, but that identity is too pitfall. If he is not careful, he will be implicated and lose his reputation. He doesn't want to be pointed at or looked at strangely when he goes out in the future. This attitude made Tamura Hao stunned, and subconsciously wanted to say I want to improve too much. It's been so many years, what's the point of looking for it again? After reading the application report submitted by Fukai, the third Raikage was puzzled. Their people have obtained a lot of information from the memories of those Konoha ninjas and Enma. He has seen it before and knows the ultimate weapon of the Uchiha family. But that happened too long ago. Even Enma was just a little monkey at that time. What can be left after so many years? Tamura Hao didn't dwell on the progress, and explained seriously, I have carefully read the information obtained from the memories of the Sarutobi family ninjas, including some of the Uzumaki family's classics, and found that the end of that battle was very strange. There were not too many records, and there was no record of which side won. It was likely that both sides died. After that, the Uchiha clan never showed those eyes again, and the Senju clan and the Sarutobi clan did not get any records of those eyes. I suspect that the battle was finally sealed. If it was a sealing technique, the person would definitely die, but there is a high probability that the chakra and the pupil power of the Sharingan would remain. The pupil power of the Mangekyo Sharingan is not comparable to that of the ordinary Sharingan. I need to get it. No, it is located in the heart of the Fire Country, and it is a war period now. It is too dangerous to go there. Looking at the application report in his hand again, the third Raikage finally rejected it. Third generation teacher, I must go and get that pupil power. Tamura Hao's expression became more serious, and he connected Kagaya's phantom and the little 10 tails at the same time. His eyes turned bright red, and 3 Magatama were faintly rotating in the depths of his pupils. His original idea was correct. He could indeed use Kagaya's phantom to obtain the bloodline power that was swallowed, such as the Sharingan. This is the same as the Jinchuriki being able to obtain the power of the tailed beasts. For example, the bloodline limit of the tailed beasts will be obtained by the Jinchuriki. Kagaya's phantom is equivalent to his own tailed beast, and he is the Jinchuriki, not to mention that there is a little 10 tails. Even if the degree of fusion is very low now, the blessing obtained is still not small, especially the improvement of dynamic vision. It feels like entering the bullet time in the movie, and everything around him slows down. In addition, after fusing with the chakra of the little 10 tails, he can borrow some of the other party's chakra, which is several times more than his own. The improvement in combat power and durability is not small, enough to persist in a long battle. With the diamond seal, he can fight even against the top Jonin, at least he can save his life. Sharingan, the third Raikage was shocked, and Tutai, who was busy processing documents, couldn't help but look up. Before, they gave all the Sharingan in the laboratory to this kid, wanting to see if he could come up with any good ideas, but who would have thought that the results would come so quickly. I gave the Sharingan to Samahata to swallow, and then sealed Samahata into my body, becoming a Jinchuriki-like existence, and indirectly gained the power of the Sharingan. Tamura Hao was seriously fooling around, and this was not a lie, because after obtaining the little 10 tails, he sealed Samahata into it and let the little 10 tails swallow it, which greatly improved the efficiency of the little 10 tails chakra swallowing, and it could also produce chakra by swallowing flesh and blood. At the same time, this can also explain his own abnormality, so as not to be suspected by the third Raikage and others. The Jinchuriki of Samahata. Several people looked at him sideways. They had seen the Samahata sword of the Hidden Mist village before. It was a living thing, but they really didn't expect it to be so. According to the information obtained from the memories of those mist ninjas, the big sword Samahata was originally a small fish following the three-tail, responsible for helping the three-tail absorb and consume chakra. It usually sticks to the belly of the three-tail to help clean up the residue, and absorbs food from the three-tail's belly to extract a large amount of chakra, and then sends the chakra into the three-tail's body. To some extent, it can be regarded as a tailed beast, and it is also known for its devouring, so it makes sense to do it this way. Touch-Eye quickly figured out the principle inside, at least in theory, this is feasible. The third Raikage understood and approved this speculation, but still did not agree to Tamura Hao's application. Your sealing conjecture is just a possibility, and there is no need to go there in person to take risks. That is the hinterland of the Land of Fire, and it is now in a war period, which is very dangerous. Tamura Hao did not give up and continued to explain. The situation over there is not clear for the time being. If the situation is not good, I can use Samahata's devouring power to directly devour the existing Mangekyo pupil power to prevent it from dissipating. And we can ask an Uzumaki ninja who has awakened the Kagura Heart's Eye to accompany us. The perception of the Kagura Heart's Eye is enough to avoid other ninjas from a long distance. After searching there, we will leave as soon as possible regardless of whether there is any gain. In addition, Konoha's current strongmen are all on the front line, so the risk of going there is not really that big. Teacher, I want to become stronger as soon as possible. This is a rare opportunity for me, and I must go. Naturally, he won't really take risks and has already thought of a way. And this time it was just a search, not a fight with any force. There were no ninja forces entrenched in that area, so it wasn't a big problem. Third generation, sir. Among the Uzumaki clan members, Kagura's mind is the strongest at present, Uzumaki Tamaba, with a sensing range of 30 kilometers. There are not many sensing ninjas in Konoha who can go beyond this range, and they are even less likely to be placed in such a useless place. Tutai persuaded him, saying that if he simply searched in the past, the danger would not be great. Fukai, take 3 Anbu ninjas to escort him to Jinlu River. Make sure to ensure his safety. After thinking for a while, the third Raikage finally agreed. Yes, Raikage-sama. Fukai took the order, and he would not refuse the students' requests and the opportunity to become stronger. Moreover, this trip seemed dangerous, but it was actually nothing. They were not going to spy on Konoha's intelligence, and Jinrukawa was not an important place. As long as they did not come into contact with Konoha ninjas, there would be no conflict, and they might not even be discovered by the other party. Thank you, Sandaime-sensei. Tamura Hao smiled, and became more and more eager for that Uchiha Hikaru. That is the Mangekyo Sharingan with 4 pupil techniques. You have to hold your position in the village. The third Raikage once again reminded and corrected me with an old face. I still want to be shameless. Yes, Raikage-sama. The corners of his eyes twitched, and Tamura Hao could only change his title helplessly. Without further delay, Fukai selected 3 Anbu members who were from the Yayoi family, and found Uzumaki Tamaki to escort Tamura Hao to the Land of Fire. In order to be more hidden, they did not take the land route, but took a boat to the sea, took the sea route to the Whirlpool Kingdom, and then entered the Fire Kingdom from the south. Nowadays, Konoha has deployed heavy troops in the eastern, northern and western parts of the Land of Fire. There must be a large number of sentient ninjas there. It is difficult to enter from those 3 directions, and the chance of being discovered is very high. Even if they have Uzumaki Tamaba's Kagura Heart Eye for long-distance perception, they will inevitably leave some traces on their way. Ninjas have very keen observation skills, and these traces are likely to be discovered by the opponent, so they cannot approach from those 3 directions and can only enter from the south. At the same time, they can better recuperate their energy in the early stage by taking a boat trip, and enter the Kingdom of Fire in the best condition. Of course, Tamura Hao did not stop practicing on the ship, especially the practice of changing the nature of the thunder attribute. He has long been interested in AD-level thunder escape ninjutsu called Thunder Flash Technique. Yes, that's the name, but it has nothing to do with the one in the previous life. It's just a ninjutsu that simply stimulates the body's muscle nerves to increase the burst speed, but it can only burst out in an instant, that is, one attack. This is a basic ninjutsu of the Thunder Release ninjutsu. Although it is only D level, it is quite practical. Moreover, the level of ninjutsu is not directly linked to the power. For example, the signature ninjutsu of the Hidden Mist Village, the Hidden Mist Art, is only D level, but if it is used well, it is more useful than many advanced ninjutsu. Tamura Hao regards this Thunder Flash technique as part of Chidori. After all, Chidori has the effect of stimulating speed burst, but the more important thing about that is the piercing ability gathered in the hand, and the burst stimulation of the body speed is longer, unlike the Thunder Flash technique, which is only a moment and can only burst out one attack. Tamura Hao's current chakra amount and the level of cultivation of the nature change of the lightning attribute are not enough to form such a gathering, so he can only start with the body stimulation ability. Of course, the simple Thunderbolt technique does not require a change of nature. After all, it is only AD level ninjutsu, and there are too many seals, 6 in total, and his current seal making speed is 2 per second, which means it takes 3 seconds. If the thunder attribute change can be cultivated to a certain level, 4 seals can be saved and 2 seals can be used to complete it, and the effect of the surprise attack will be greatly improved. As for the Yang seal obtained from the Uzumaki clan, that requires a certain amount of knowledge of seal techniques, and requires a high level of control over chakra, which he does not meet now. And taking the Uzumaki Yuya with him also has the idea of learning the knowledge of the vortex seal technique from him. This person is a direct member of the Uzumaki clan and knows most of the seal techniques of the Uzumaki clan, except for those forbidden techniques. In this way, consuming chakra to cultivate the change of nature, and learning the knowledge of seal techniques after consuming chakra to a certain extent, the ship finally arrived at the country of Vortex after 8 days. The 6 people hid the ship in a remote place, and then went north from the country of Vortex to the country of Fire. The country of Whirlpool is in chaos now, because the destruction of the hidden Whirlpool village has given many people an opportunity, and bandits have appeared one after another. This chaos just gave the 6 people an opportunity to sneak in, but looking at the chaotic scene, Uzumaki Tamaya gnashed her teeth with hatred. This is her homeland after all. It's all the fault of that Konoha. Fortunately, Uzumaki Tamaya was very clear about the risks of this mission, and suppressed her hatred and anger and did not take action. With the help of Uzumaki Tamaya's Kagura Heart Eye, the 6 people avoided all the existences with chakra on the road, and quickly entered the territory of the Land of Fire, and then ran along the mountains and forests according to the map, heading to the destination, the upper reaches of the Jinlu River. The Jinlu River is a large river, and it also refers to the flat area around the river. The area is very large, and it is 2,000 kilometers along the river, and even the upper reaches are hundreds of miles in radius. Even with Uzumaki Tamaya's Kagura Heart Eye for range scanning, it is still difficult to find the battle site of that year. And the premise is that there is really a seal maintained by chakra there. If there is no chakra, even Uzumaki Yuya's Kagura Heart Eye will not be able to gain anything. After all, Kagura Heart Eye can only sense chakra, not the perspective of the Byakugan. There seems to be chakra fluctuations in that direction. After spending half a month swimming hundreds of miles upstream of the Jinlu River, Uzumaki Yuya finally felt it. Is it finally there? Fukai and the 3 Anbu ninjas were shocked. They thought they would return empty-handed. Without stopping, they rushed to the sensed location and finally came to a tributary of the Jinlu River. Under the water, chakra has a strong vitality. It is definitely the chakra of the Senju clan. Uzumaki Yuya carefully sensed it and confirmed that it was the chakra of the Senju clan. Is it a sealing technique? Tamura Hao asked. He was interested in the ultimate weapon of the Uchiha, not the secret of the Senju clan here. In addition, he was also curious about this sealing technique, which could seal a person for decades without changing his body, as if time had stopped. If it touches the seal of the power of time, it would be very worthwhile to study. It may be the seal of the inner 4 elephants. Only the seal of the inner 4 elephants can be maintained to the maximum extent. Uzumaki Yuya came to the river and looked at the semicircular river bank, and had a guess in his mind. His body is right below the center of this circle. After sensing it, he signaled to the 3 Anbu ninjas. An Anbu ninja who was good at water escape used a seal to control the water flow to form a water dragon that plunged into the bottom of the river, and soon rushed to the shore with a rock in his mouth. It was formed by the earth escape ninjutsu pulling the soil. Another Anbu senior ninja who was good at earth escape came forward to check it carefully, and then used a seal to make the rock loose and fall off, and soon revealed a strange corpse. It was the corpse of a person, with a fatal penetrating wound on the chest, but the body was no longer flesh and blood, but like stone. In addition, there is a clan emblem on the armor, which belongs to the Senju clan. The Senju clan has been friends with the Uzumaki clan for generations, and they know a lot of sealing techniques, including the inner 4 symbol seal, which does not require the vortex bloodline as a foundation. This is also recorded in the Uzumaki clan's classics. It is the inner 4 symbol seal. This seal can seal everything around into the body and merge it with the body. His body has undergone this change because he absorbed and merged the surrounding soil and rocks. Uzumaki Yuya stepped forward to take a look and confirmed that it was the result of the inner 4 elephant seal. Just after seeing the semicircular river bank, she had some guesses. Only the inner 4 elephant seal could match this scene. Can it be unlocked? Tamura Hao asked, feeling a little disappointed. He had read a simple introduction to many ninjutsu of the Uzumaki clan and knew the general principle of the inner 4 elephant seal, which was not linked to the power of time. In this case, if Uchiha Guang was really still alive, it might be his own problem. Was it his Mangekyo pupil technique? It can be unlocked, and it has been a long time. Even if you don't take the initiative to unlock the inner four-elephant seal, the power will slowly disintegrate and release the sealed substances. Uzumaki Yuya nodded, and then began to use chakra to record the spell text on the corpse, and finally raised her hand to seal. Inner four-elephant seal unlock. The many spell texts that were recorded merged into the corpse, and then spewed out a large amount of substances. Most of them were soil, rocks and water, and there were a few corpses. It's the clan emblem of the Senju clan and the Sarutobi clan. After seeing the clan emblem marks on the armor of the corpses, Tamura Hao confirmed their identities, and then looked at the girl in the blue dress, who had a pair of lead cuffs on her ankles. She's still breathing. Seeing the chest of the girl floating on the river rising and falling, Fukai and the three Anbu ninjas clenched their ninja swords, ready to attack at any time. Seal her chakra. Tamura Hao signaled to Uzumaki Yuya that they didn't have time to stay here for a long time to wait for the other party to regain consciousness and convince them. After all, this is the territory of the Land of Fire, and now it is a war period, and Konoha ninjas are everywhere. Even if they use Uzumaki Yuya's Kagura Hard Eye to perceive and avoid those Konoha ninjas to the greatest extent, they still can't guarantee it 100%, and they must return as soon as possible. But the girl seemed to have heard Tamura Hao's words, suddenly opened her eyes, and the scarlet light flashed, facing the people on the shore. Tsukuyomi. After using Tsukuyomi to trap the consciousness of several people, the girl swam to the shore with great effort. She was in a very bad state now. Not only was she injured, but her chakra was also exhausted. She had just used a pupil technique that was not her own, which overdrawn her body. But before she could catch her breath, something stuck to her arm, and then a current swept through her body. Without chakra, she could not fight at all. She could only stare at the boy who flashed in front of her, with a bit of confusion in her astonishment. Why is this person okay? Remove your pupil technique, or I will kill you. Staring at the girl coldly, Tiankyun Hao was quite surprised. It was indeed this person. The girl did not say a word, and looked at Tiankyun Hao fearlessly. Aren't you afraid of death? Seeing the girl's fearlessness, Tiankyun Hao knew that this was a person who was not afraid of death. Then I'll change the way. I'll call 100 or 80 big men to serve you. You're not even an adult yet, so I wonder if you can handle it. How about letting me do it for the first time? Putting on an evil and crazy expression pack, Tiankyun Hao threatened with a villain and perverted temperament, and licked his lips like Uncle Snake. It's a pity that his tongue is not as long as Uncle Snake's, but it also increased his perverted temperament by 10 percentage points. Shameless. The girl's face changed, and she glared at him. Too shameless. I'll count to 3. If you don't remove the pupil technique, I'll do it. You're pretty, so I'm not at a disadvantage. While saying this, Tiankyun Hao stretched out his other hand to the girl's collar, as if he wanted to tear it apart forcibly, and fight in the wild here, and fight bloody. Shameless. The girl cursed again, but she could only choose to surrender and use her pupil power to remove the moon reading. What a terrible illusion. Kneeling on one knee, Fukai was filled with horror. He was knocked down in an instant. If the opponent was not too weak to do further harm in the illusion space, it would definitely cause them great mental damage. But even so, the impact of the illusion still made them have a splitting headache. At the same time, the girl's condition was also very bad. She used her pupil power again to further overdraw her body, and her face became as pale as paper. She even stretched out her palm and clenched her chest, deforming the slight bulge. Her face was also distorted, and she looked very painful. She is not in the right state. Tamura Hao immediately noticed the abnormality of the girl and picked up the Thor's sword to continuously shock her. Her eyes are from the Mangekyo, which puts a great strain on the body. In the Warring States period, a strong Uchiha was drained of life by the Mangekyo and died. She is too young and cannot bear the extraction of the Mangekyo. Uzumaki Yuya said, trying to hold back the splitting headache. Because of the relationship with the Senju clan, their Uzumaki clan had a lot of dealings with the Uchiha clan and had some knowledge of the Mangekyo Sharingan. That was a pair of cursed eyes. The Uchiha with such eyes eventually died miserably. No one could escape that curse. At this time, the girl had begun to twitch, and the palm holding her heart tightened, and her face began to turn blue. The pulse is gone, it's the heart that has stopped beating. Reaching out his hand and pressing it on the girl's neck to sense it, Tamura Hao's face changed slightly, knowing that the girl's heart had stopped beating, so she was in so much pain. I don't know if it was a myocardial infarction or heart failure. Without delay, he forcibly took away the girl's palm holding her heart, and stretched out his hand to touch there to inject a trace of thunder attribute chakra. Although he had only recently completed the nature change of lightning attribute, it was not very powerful, but it could still be used to stimulate the heart. But after trying a few times, he found that it had no effect, and the girl had stopped struggling. It's useless. Her body should be completely overdrawn, her heart is failing, and the vitality of other organs is also very weak. It's already useless, but the Sharingan is still intact. Uzumaki Yuya struggled to come over, stretched out her hand and pressed the girl's heart to inject chakra into the induction, and finally shook her head. She is more valuable alive. After thinking about it, Tianqun Hao decided to treat her. What if I replace the heart? I have the complete hearts of Kinkaku Ginkaku and the second-generation Hokage Senju Tobarama, especially the heart of the second-generation Hokage is still very active. While talking, Tianqun Hao took out the hearts of 3 people from the sealing technique of the armor on his body. He originally wanted to use it as bait for Kakuzu, but now he can only use it first in this situation. It's hard to say whether it will succeed, but there's no harm in trying. If it doesn't work, just take out the heart and keep it sealed. Use the second-generation Hokages, but I can't guarantee success. Looking at the 3 hearts, Uzumaki Tamaba finally took out the medical equipment from the ninja bag. She is a medical ninja herself, and even went to the Senju clan to study medical ninjutsu. It's not difficult to do a simple transplant operation. But it's only the operation itself that is not difficult. As for whether the other party can adapt to the transplanted heart, it's hard to say. Uzumaki Tamaba took a breath, endured the headache, and made a seal to split a shadow clone to complete the operation. She is still in the mental pain of the Tsukuyomi illusion, and she can't concentrate at all. The seal to perform the shadow clone technique is already the limit. The shadow clone quickly cut open the girl's clothes, disinfected her heart simply, and then cut open the ribs, revealing the heart that had stopped beating inside. It can be seen that the girl's heart not only stopped beating, but also turned black and red, and was even bleeding. Obviously, many capillaries on it were broken. Cleanly cut the blood vessels, temporarily blocked them with chakra to prevent blood from flowing out, and then transplanted the heart of Senju Tobarama into it, and quickly connected the blood vessels with the palm technique. At this moment, Uzumaki Yuya suddenly spoke. 4 chakras are approaching us from the direction we came from before. They must have found our traces and tracked us. One is at the strength of a Chunin, and the other 3 are at the strength of a Genin. You continue to recover, I'll deal with it. Tamura Hao said and jumped over. Now the condition of several people is very bad. That kind of mental trauma is not so easy to recover, and it is also very troublesome. It is not suitable for fighting, so they can only fight by themselves. At least 1 Chunin and 3 Genin are not a problem. Be careful, if it really doesn't work, use the detonating tag. Fukai, who is in a very bad state, reminded him. He is now difficult to fight, and can only alleviate the mental trauma as soon as possible. Now he has double vision when he sees people, and he can't fight at all. The severe headache also makes it difficult for him to concentrate on mobilizing chakra to perform ninjutsu, almost becoming a burden. I was really careless just now, and I was actually tricked by a little girl. However, it can be seen that the Mangekyo Sharingan is terrifying, and it has surpassed the limit of a Jonin. Tamura Hao did not respond, and his figure had already rushed into the woods. At the same time, his chakra merged with the little ten-tail and the phantom of Kagaya, and his eyes turned bright red. Deep in the pupils, there were 3 Magatama slowly rotating. This is the confidence that he dared to face a small team. Although his own chakra is not highly compatible with the little ten-tail and the phantom of Kagaya, resulting in a small amount of power that can be borrowed, the power level of the 2 is too high. Even if he can only borrow a little bit, it will be a huge improvement for him. In this state, his strength has greatly improved, and he needs to fight a wave of actual combat. 1 Chunin and 3 Genin are just right. The 4 Konoha ninjas were advancing slowly, following some subtle traces. Captain, how long will we continue to track? One team member couldn't help complaining. There were a lot of bloodshot eyes in his eyes. It was obvious that he had not rested for a long time. The other two were also very tired. They were about to change their shift, but the captain made a discovery, and then came to track them for a day and a night. In total, they had not rested for 2 days and 2 nights, and they were always on high alert. Even a ninja couldn't handle it. Everyone, cheer up. They left very few traces. It proves that they are experienced ninjas. They are very dangerous. They all have the signal bombs ready and will launch the signal as soon as possible if they encounter danger. The Chunin captain solemnly reminded him that although he was very tired now, important clues like this could not be cut off. If ninjas from hostile ninja villages infiltrate here, it will be fatal to their entire Konoha front. Seeing the captain's seriousness, the 3 of them could only brace themselves. The 4 of them continued to move forward, and the Chunin captain at the front was even more focused, his eyes constantly scanning the surroundings, searching for traces while also guarding against possible traps and ambush. But the most important tracker is a powerful ninja dog, and the Chunin captain is a ninja from the Inuzuka family. The ninjas of the Inuzuka family are the best at this kind of tracking and patrolling task, so most of them are arranged to lead people to patrol the front and rear of the battle line, as well as here in the rear area. Woo! It smells like blood. The advancing ninja dog suddenly whined softly, and the Chunin captain also twitched his nose, smelling a faint smell of blood, and hurriedly whispered a warning. Then, together with the ninja dog, they finally located the source of the blood by using their sense of smell, which was a drop of blood dripping in the grass. Seeing the blood, the 3 genin became excited. Before, there were only some vague traces, but now it is finally confirmed that someone is indeed active in this area. According to the report, there are no Konoha ninjas in this area, so they can only be hostile ninjas. However, the Chunin captain and the ninja dog suddenly seemed to have discovered something, turned their heads to look in a certain direction, and immediately became alert. At the same time, a figure rushed out from there, and a sharp sword light bloomed. The experienced Chunin captain and ninja dog immediately jumped away, but the 3 genin who had not yet reacted suffered a disaster. The 2 were beheaded instantly. The girl who was farthest away was dragged away by the Chunin captain with a steel wire around her wrist. She escaped the opponent's fatal knife, but her right hand holding the flare was also cut off. That's right, the attacker was none other than Tamura Hao, and he used the Thunderbolt flash technique that he had just learned, so that he could achieve that super fast sword strike with 1 hit. He rushed forward without any pause, and stabbed forward with the slender Damiao knife in his hand. He stabbed accurately into the mouth of the girl who was subconsciously screaming in pain due to the pain of her broken hand, and stabbed out from the back of the head, cleanly and without the slightest pity. At the same time, an invisible and colorless chakra line extended out, accurately wrapped around the signal flare taken out by the Chunin captain, and pulled it away to face him. Call out. With a scream, the flare flew over and was cut open accurately by Tamura Hao with a wave of Xiao Miao, but it failed to explode. All of this was accomplished with the powerful dynamic vision of the Sharingan. Even compared to the dynamic vision obtained, Tamura Hao's current speed has become as slow as a snail. And his powerful dynamic vision allows him to make the most subtle adjustments and carry out the most precise strikes. Seeing that his flare was deflected by the opponent, the Chunin captain's expression changed slightly, and he kicked hard on the tree trunk on the side and rushed towards his ninja dog. The ninja dog also rushed over as if he had a tacit understanding, and the 2 were ready to combine to perform the Inuzuka family's secret technique. The Inuzuka family's secret techniques require the cooperation of ninja dogs to perform, and are much more powerful than ordinary ninjutsu. It's just that Tamura Hao had already guessed that this person was from the Inuzuka family when he saw the ninja dog, so he would naturally be on guard against the other party using the family's secret techniques. Still charging forward without any pause, he threw out a kunai holding an explosive talisman. Seeing the kunai with the detonating talisman coming, the Chunin captain who was about to join the ninja dog had no choice but to jump to avoid it. However, the imaginary explosion did not happen, because the detonating talisman was not triggered, it was just to scare him to avoid it. The foundation of ninja combat is intelligence warfare, but the core concept of combat is a lie. For example, the basic 3-body technique taught in ninja schools is used to deceive opponents. Strange power combo. After catching up with the opponent, he decisively launches a killing move. The strange power technique adds explosive power and slashes with the sword. With the dynamic vision of Sharingan, he can better understand the flaws in the opponent's movements, and the position of the blade stabbing and slashing is more accurate. Tricky. Facing Tamura Hao's series of strong attacks, the Chunin captain was unable to contact the ninja dog to cooperate with the secret technique, and could only block it with a kunai. But the edge of the opponent's ninja sword was too strong, and even his fine kunai could not withstand it. It was cut off again and again, and soon the kunai in the ninja tool bag was exhausted. Facing such a sharp ninja sword, one must at least form a toothed sword with Onamaru. Against a two-sided attack, a simple toothed sword cannot compete. Seeing that the opponent's strength and speed were stronger than his own, the Chunin captain knew that he might have to stay here this time. Thinking of this, he decisively turned to the previous position and prepared to get the signal flare of his teammates. He could die, but he couldn't die in vain. He had to send a signal to let the ninjas of the same village around him find out the abnormality here. He couldn't let the other party have an easy time. The ninja dog, who was in tune with his master, rushed over to stop him and buy time for his master, even if it was only a little bit. For this loyal ninja dog, Tamura Hao didn't hesitate at all. He swung his double swords to cut it into pieces, and his body only paused slightly. During this pause, the captain of the Chunin had already got a signal flare and pulled the fuse. Ghost Maru. Looking back, the captain of the Chunin was furious at his partner who was cut into pieces. After the people of their Inuzuka family extracted chakra, they would choose a ninja dog, eat and live together, and be as close as brothers. That was their most important bond. And now his companions were brutally killed. How could he not be angry? But he was soon stunned and looked back at the signal flare in his hand that had not been fired. Why didn't it fire? Although he was puzzled, the captain of the Chunin reacted quickly. He fell to the ground and rolled awkwardly to avoid the attacking sword light. He grabbed another teammate's flare in his hand and pulled the fuse, but it still did not ignite and fire. This made him even more puzzled. Could it be that the reserve department cut corners on this? Before he could take further action, a golden chakra chain extended from the bottom of his teammate's body and wrapped around his left leg, and the chakra in his body was also blocked. Then the sword light attacked again, cutting off the only two fine kunai in his hand, and his body was also chopped into pieces. It's really hard to ambush the ninjas of the Inuzuka family. Fortunately, I used the chakra line to pierce and destroy the flares of the three people. Seeing the other party's eyes open, Tianqun Hao breathed a sigh of relief. Just now, he wanted to use a drop of blood to attract the other party's attention, and then attack from the back. But who would have thought that the leader was a ninja of the Inuzuka family, whose sense of smell was too sensitive, and he noticed his hiding place, so he could only explode in advance. As for the ineffective flare, he used the chakra line to pierce and destroy it after he attacked, and even injected some clean water into the chakra line to soak the gunpowder inside before it became ineffective. Fortunately, he got the chakra line training method of the sand village at the beginning, which greatly improved the strength of the chakra line. Although it is not enough to pierce the human body, it is not difficult to pierce the paper flare. In addition, the training of the mind and the powerful dynamic vision of the Sharingan made that perfect attack. As for the diamond blockade, it was naturally ambushed by him earlier. Collect the bodies. Without delay, Tianqun Hao started to deal with the scene, sealed all the bodies with the sealing scroll, and even scraped a layer of blood-stained ground, and the footprints on the ground were also erased. Finally, he took out a high-pressure spray bottle and sprayed it around. The medicine inside can neutralize the bloody smell. The core of ninja fighting is intelligence warfare. A lot of intelligence can be analyzed from the corpses and the battlefield. At this stage, it is necessary to hide one's own intelligence to the maximum extent. After handling the scene, Tamura Hao made a large circle to the river, dived into the water and swam back directly. This way he could erase the traces to the greatest extent, and even if another ninja from the Inuzuka family appeared, it would be difficult to track him through his sense of smell. It's good to be back safely. Seeing that Tamura Hao had returned safely, everyone in Fukai breathed a sigh of relief. I have killed all 4 of them, but it won't take long. The people here in Konoha will definitely come after they find out that the small team is missing. A Jonin may appear by then. Tamura Hao said solemnly. His theoretical scores in the ninja school were not low, and he learned a lot, including the mechanism of this patrol mission. Although he killed that small team, he couldn't delay it for too long. They would eventually find him. This place is far away from the front line. The patrol will not be very intensive. It should be able to delay it for a day. Fukai suppressed his headache and analyzed that one day would be enough for them to recover. This kind of mental trauma is too difficult to recover from, and it also has a great impact on the performance of one's own strength. Even traveling is problematic. Then rest here for a day. Tamura Hao also thought that he could have one day, and immediately looked at Uchiha Hikaru and Uzumaki Tamaba who were sleeping together. How are they doing? The girl's surgery was successful. There was no rejection reaction. Her heartbeat and breathing were stable. Uzumaki Tamaki fainted from the impact of the memory when the shadow clone was released. Fukai explained that although the shadow clone technique is very powerful, it also has a flaw. That is, after the shadow clone is released, it will return to the original body with the memory. Under normal circumstances, it is not difficult to withstand the memory impact of a shadow clone with the strength of Uzumaki Tamaki, but now his mental consciousness has been severely damaged by the girl's pupil technique, and now it is considered to be more injuries. And Uzumaki Tamaoye was their eyes on this trip. It was with the help of Uzumaki Tamaoye that they could go deep into the hinterland of the Fire Country. Now Uzumaki Tamaoye is in a coma and it seems that he will not be able to wake up in a short time. The next journey home will be dangerous. You guys have a good rest, I'll take care of you. Tamura Hao signaled Fukai and the three Anbujanin to take a rest and took over the task of guarding. Although he does not have Kagura's eye of Uzumaki Tamaha, the little Ten Tails and Kagaya's shadow have devoured many Uzumaki ninja bloodlines and have long since acquired Kagura's eye of mind. After merging with the two chakras, I can also obtain it indirectly, but the current range is limited and can only sense a range of 1 kilometer, which is far behind Uzumaki Tamaba's. Fukai nodded without saying anything, resting against the tree trunk with his long knife in his arms. The three Anbu ninjas also found their own places to rest in order to relieve their mental injuries. There is no good way to treat the damage to the mental consciousness, the only way is to slowly ease and recover. Tamura Hao came to Uchiha Hikaru, raised his hand and put it on his eyes, borrowed the power of Kagaya Shadow and the little Ten Tails to extract the kaleidoscope pupil technique and part of the pupil power in his eyes, and handed them over to the two for refinement. This is the reason why he took the risk this time. With kaleidoscope's pupil power and pupil skills, he will definitely be able to push both of them further. Sure enough, the three Magatama Sharingan of the two had changed. There was an extra circle on the outside. The small Ten Tails had 3 more Magatama on the outer circle, staggered with the 3 Magatama in the inner circle, just like a 6 Magatama Samsara Eye. Normal, but not the Samsara Eye. The circle of the Sharingan is not a closed coil like the Rinnegan, but dots. Today, the shadows between the eyebrows of Kagaya and the little Ten Tails are still in the shape of the Sharingan, not the Rinnegan, let alone the Rinnegan. Sharingan. The level of the reincarnation eye is too high. It is a real blood successor snare, and it cannot be evolved by the Kagaya Shadow and the little Ten Tails today. However, this Sharingan form is also very good, and each Magatama has a corresponding pupil technique. The 3 Magatama in the inner circle represent the 3 most basic characteristics of the Sharingan: dynamic vision enhancement, replication and illusion amplification. And because a large amount of Sharingan eye power has been consumed, the effect of these 3 is far beyond that of the normal 3 Magatama Sharingan. It's just that the compatibility between Tamura Hao's current chakra and the chakra of the little Ten Tails and Kagaya's shadow is too low, and the abilities he can obtain are very limited. He needs to constantly improve the compatibility. Now the little Ten Tails has 3 more Magatama. Each Magatama represents a pupil technique, while Kagaya Zaying seems to be very picky and only has 1 more Magatama. Tsukiyomi, Amaterasu, 8,000 Spears, Great Rue God. After sensing the 4 extra Magatama eye techniques of the 2, Tamura Hao understood that it was similar to the setting in Naruto, but with the addition of an extra god. The pupil technique of Oru God is the reason why Uchiha Hikari can survive the seal of the 4 symbols. It can lock its own state and be immune to external damage. It is somewhat similar to Izanagi, but it is not as troublesome. I only took the Tsukuyomi eye technique because it matches the infinite Tsukuyomi. Tamura Hao consciously looked at the Sharingan between Kagaya's shadow's eyebrows. The extra Magatama pupil technique was Tsukuyomi, and Kagaya Otsutsuki himself had infinite Tsukuyomi pupil technique, and was the most advanced blood successor. Snare. The core abilities of Otsutsuki Keigaya's Rinne Sharingan are the Infinite Tsukuyomi and the Aim no Gochu. The Infinite Tsukuyomi matches the simple Tsukuyomi. The Aim no Gochu is said to be able to weave space freely and shape the space of the first sphere and for the other 5 dimensions. If one is to say that the eye technique of heaven's control is suitable, it must be Obito's divine power. Tamura Hao thought of Obito's future Mangekyo Sharingan, which is the closest to Aim no Gochu. It can not only travel through space, but also create a space. It is a low-profile version of Aim no Gochu. The power of Keigaya's phantom comes from the imprint of Keigaya Otsutsuki in the chakra. The essence of its improvement is not enhancement, but recovery, so it can only absorb the same power as Keigaya Otsutsuki. Because of this, Keigaya's phantom is so eager for the bloodline of Otsutsuki. And the recovery of pupil skills must also find those Mangekyo pupil skills that can match Keigaya Otsutsuki. The Mangekyo pupil skills that match Aim no Gochu are naturally Obito's Kamui. Another trump card to save my life. Tamura Hao was very satisfied with this harvest, even a little beyond his expectations. He thought that Keigaya's phantom and the little ten-tail could only absorb and refine pupil power, but who would have thought that even pupil skills could be obtained? 8,000 spears. Looking at the girl in front of him, Tamura Hao decisively used the little ten-tails to perform the 8,000 spears eye technique on her, leaving a mark on her heart. Then he used the mark to extract the girl's chakra essence, and after being refined by the little ten-tails and Keigaya's phantom, he swallowed the marks of the 6-path sage Otsutsuki Ashiki and the Otsutsuki ancestor in the chakra, and then he transferred the chakra with only Keigaya's mark back to the girl's body, baptizing and purifying her chakra. In addition to the ability of the 8,000 spears, the chakra used by Uchiha Hikari to perform ninjutsu in the future will be transmitted to the little ten-tails and swallowed by it. In fact, Tamura Hao had long suspected that there was something wrong with the chakra. Just as he said in his previous life, energy will not appear or disappear out of thin air, but will only change from one form to another and transfer from one place to another. This energy conservation also applies to chakra. But after the ninja used chakra to release ninjutsu, it disappeared out of thin air, and did not return to the ninja's body, nor did it integrate into the nature of heaven and earth, just like the chakra will return to the main body when the shadow clone comes into contact. At that time, he thought of the 6-path sage, the source of the chakra of the ninja world, and even thought of the infinite chakra bug of the impure world reincarnation. The water in this ninja world is not ordinary deep. He has always wanted to get rid of the restrictions of the 6-path sage's chakra, at least to help the high-level officials of the Hidden Cloud Village get rid of it first, so that he can plan some things with confidence, otherwise they have no secrets at all for the 6-path sage. This is also the main reason why he attaches so much importance to Uchiha Hikari. The 8,000 spears eye technique can help him solve this problem to a certain extent. Tamura Hao didn't take the patrol team here too seriously. After all, the elites of the major ninja clans in Konoha are all at the front line at the moment, or in Konoha. It is impossible to arrange elites to sit in such a place. And they only need 1 day to barely recover. With 4 Jonins here, even if they can only exert half of their strength, they are enough to compete with a Jonin team. But Tamura Hao didn't expect that the major ninja clans did send their elites to the front line, but not all of them. As a ninja clan in Konoha, there are naturally some privileges. Some of the best juniors are not sent to the front line, especially those who are good at reconnaissance. For example, the young patriarch of the Hyuga clan, Hyuga Hiyashi, and as the main family of the Hyuga clan, there is naturally a strong guard around him. Inuzuka Blade didn't come back. Did he encounter the enemy? After receiving the report, Hyuga Hiyashi instantly became energetic. In fact, he was very depressed about being arranged here. After all, this is the rear area, not a strategic location, and the enemy cannot come here. This is a kind of protection from the family, but he does not need this kind of protection. His current close combat strength is not inferior to that of a senior ninja. He is very good in the family for having such strength at the age of 16. After practicing for so many years, he is eager to have a real battle, even to the front line. After coming here, he did not have much hope, but who would have thought that something abnormal would happen so soon? We followed the patrol route set for them and found some marks. It seems that we have found traces of an unknown ninja team. We need to support them as soon as possible. The Inuzuka ninja who came to report spoke quickly, and he was even more anxious in his heart. After all, that was his own brother, and he did not want anything to happen. Hyuga Hiyashi had an idea and immediately looked at his younger brother Hazashi who assisted him. Are there any other abnormalities? No other abnormalities reported for the time being. Hinata Hazashi replied, and then seemed to guess his brother's thoughts, and worriedly persuaded, before we came out, our father told us not to take risks, let alone leave this station. He knew the preciousness of the Byakugan. It is said that the price of a Byakugan in the bounty office has reached a high price of 100 million taels, and the major ninja villages covet it even more. And only the main family can get the Byakugan, so it is very dangerous for the eldest brother to come out this time. Hyuga Hiyashi stood up and said sternly, Hiyashi, according to the intelligence obtained by the family, the Uchiha clan has eyes with pupil power above the 3 Magatama Sharingan, and there are more than one person, and that kind of eyes can threaten the existence of the shadow. We represent the future of the Hyuga clan, and we must not be surpassed by the Uchiha, and the tempering of battle is necessary. We are not allowed to go to the front line, but if we dare not fight in this rear, how can we lead the family to surpass the Uchiha in the future? As the young patriarch of the Hyuga clan, he knows very well that their Hyuga's Byakugan is definitely not worse than the Uchiha's Sharingan, not only the kind of Magatama Sharingan, but also the kind of eyes of a higher level. It's just that their Hyuga clan has not brought out the true potential of the Byakugan, and the secret land lineage is much stronger in this regard. He firmly believes that his future will never be worse than the eyes of the Uchiha, and fighting is the best nutrient to promote his own growth. But Hyuga Hiyashi wanted to persuade again, but was interrupted by Hyuga Hiyashi waving his hand. Don't worry, we have 3 elite Jonins to protect us, and we 2 brothers have the strength to rival the Jonins, so nothing will happen. Although he longed for a life and death battle, it did not affect his reason, and he would not put himself in danger. This time, his father arranged 3 elite Jonins from the branch family to protect him. With the strength of himself and Hazashi, he could fight against the upper shadow. In addition, he and Hazashi arrived here secretly, and even Konoha didn't know which base the 2 brothers had come to, so it was impossible for them to be targeted. After hesitating for a long time, Hyuga Hazashi finally stopped persuading. Inuzuka Zhao, you come with us to support Inuzuka Ren and the others. Seeing that his brother no longer objected, Hyuga Hiyashi immediately ordered a pursuit. Although he was very confident in his Byakugan, he also understood that the Inuzuka family, which relied on the sense of smell, had more advantages in long-distance tracking. Yes, Inuzuka Zhao took the order, walked out and whistled, and his own ninja dog ran quickly. Hyuga Hiyashi also found 3 clan members in the station, and a group of 6 people started chasing. With the marks left by the Inuzuka blade, the 6 people arrived at the place where they died a few hours later. This place has been cleaned up. Looking at the scraped ground, Hyuga Hiyashi saw that there had been a battle here. Inuzuka Zhao was very angry. The marks and traces of his brother disappeared here. It was obvious that he was in danger. Even the body was taken away by the other party. There are traces in 2 directions, one is in front and the other is on the side. Hyuga Hiyashi said after walking around and saw traces in 2 directions. Zhao, can you confirm which side has a fresher smell? Hyuga Hiyashi looked at Inuzuka Zhao, and Inuzuka Zhao had to confirm this. The smell on the side is fresher, Inuzuka Zhao said, holding back his grief, and made a decision in his heart to kill the murderer and avenge his brother. Chase, Hyuga Hiyashi decisively ordered, and the group quickly chased. After chasing for several hours, they looked at the river in front of them and their faces were very ugly. The other party had obviously entered the river to cover up the traces and smell with the help of the river water, so there was no way to track them down. They could not determine whether the other party went upstream or downstream, or where they landed. If there were forked tributaries, it would be even more difficult to find. Go back and chase in another direction. Hinata Hiyashi could only order to return. This time the speed was much faster. It didn't take long for them to return to the fork point and chase along another trace. Although the other party passed by earlier and the smell was much lighter, there were still some residues. Coupled with some inconspicuous traces, tracking was not a problem. On the other side, Tamura Hao and others were resting. They needed more time to rest. They would not leave before the Konoha ninja caught up. The most important thing is that Uzumaki Tamaya is still in a coma. Without Uzumaki Tamaya's Kagura hard eye to sense and move forward, it is very dangerous. If you are not careful, you may encounter Konoha's patrol ninjas, which is even more dangerous. Here we are. There are 6 people. 5 of them have very strong chakras, especially 3 whose chakras are no less than those of the 3 uncles. Tamura Hao suddenly spoke and looked at that direction solemnly. He has been connected with the chakras of the Little Ten Tails and Kagaya's Phantom, and with the help of the other party's Kagura hard eye to sense, although it can only sense a range of 1 kilometer, it is already very good. 3 elite Jonins, how can there be 3 elite Jonins here? Fukai was puzzled. The 3 Anbu ninjas brought out this time were all senior predecessors, the elites of the Night Moon clan, and real elite Jonins. But I didn't expect that there were 3 elite Jonins of Konoha here. Could Konoha secretly place something here? It can't be such a coincidence. Retreat first. An Anbu ninja carried Uzumaki Yuya on his back, and another Anbu ninja also carried Uchiha Guang on his back. Since they were discovered, they just had to run. Although they were still in a lot of trouble now, which affected their combat performance, it no longer affected their journey. And traveling depends more on physical fitness, which is the strength of their cloud ninjas, not to mention that they are ninjas from the Night Moon clan. Let's go along the river first. I'll see which ninja clan is chasing us. I hope they will have clan emblems or other characteristics on them. Tamura Hao suggested, and then took out the small telescope. Several people agreed with this and ran quickly along the river bank. Soon, 6 people from Hyuga Hiyashi chased out. Because of the river, the view here is wide. While running, Tiankyun Hao turned back and observed with a telescope. He confirmed the identity of the other party at a glance because the characteristics were too obvious. Looking at those pairs of white eyes, he instantly became excited. It's a ninja from the Hyuga clan. 5 pairs of white eyes. One of the boys is hidden in the center by the other 4. It seems to be protected. It is very likely that he is a member of the main family of the Hyuga clan. There is no caged bird curse seal. Immediately use the summoning beast to notify the 3rd generation teacher. Maybe this time we can intercept a pair of Hyuga white eyes. Tamura Hao is ready to summon the 3rd generation of Raikage to come. This is his strongest killer move and the confidence to come to the heart of the land of fire. With the sky sending technique, the 3rd generation of Raikage can instantly descend to any place in the ninja continent for support. As for fighting with the team behind, he is not stupid. If it was other ninjas, they would fight, but those were 5 Hyuga ninjas, all good at close combat. Especially since the Hyuga ninjas were too restrained, even if they used the diamond seal, it might not be useful. Coupled with the attack and defense combined with the Kaden, and the instant long-range attack of the 8 trigrams palm, I really couldn't handle it. At this time, of course, I had to call on the parents for support. Members of the Hyuga clan. No wonder there are 3 elite Jonin guarding them. Several people suddenly realized and immediately became excited. An Anbu ninja even ran while forming hand seals and performing the summoning technique to summon a black cat in his arms. Fukai threw the quickly written note over and was bitten by the black cat, and then released the summoning technique. At the same time, the ninja cat returned to the Anbu base of the Raikage building, and the Anbu ninja on duty there got the note as soon as possible. After reading the content, he ran to the Raikage office at the top without hesitation. Members of the Hyuga clan. After reading the note, the 3rd generation Raikage stood up in an instant. He had coveted the Byakugan for a long time. Especially the use of the Vulcan spear is the most perfect when combined with the Byakugan. Dodai quickly flipped out the map and quickly locked the general location according to the coordinates on the note. 3rd generation master, you need to land here and attack from behind them. Although the Byakugan has a wide range of insight, it can only be observed from a distance in front, and the all-round view from the side and back is very limited. And you need to lock the main family members as soon as possible, and then dig out their eyes first to prevent them from noticing something wrong and destroying their eyes. Dodai pointed to that location. They have a secret technique in the hidden cloud village called the Sky Send technique, which can deliver items to the destination at super fast speeds. This requires a very high strength for the items, and ordinary items can't bear it at all, let alone the human body. But the third generation physique is the best in the ninja world, enough to withstand the pressure of the Sky Sen technique. Last time, he used this method to land directly in the land of whirlpools. This is also an opportunity. Although it is difficult to achieve accurate positioning without guidance, it is enough to have a general location. After all, there is a big river there. According to the intelligence, they will run downstream. As long as they find the river and chase down, they will be fine. The third Raikage didn't say much nonsense, took the map and ran to the altar of the heavens sending technique. The secret ninja who had been sitting there did not hesitate at all. After looking at the map brought by the third Raikage, he began to adjust the position. Heavens sending technique. Raising his hands and making seals, the third Raikage standing on the altar disappeared instantly, wrapped in the chakra and quickly transported to the hinterland of the land of fire. People on the ground could only see a flash of lightning. Bang! The figure fell heavily to the ground, breaking many huge trees before stopping. The third Raikage did not delay at all, looked around and ran towards a small hill not far away. Taking advantage of the high position of the hill, he quickly found the Jinlu River and ran over immediately. The third Raikage adjusted all the lightning chakra modes to increase speed, and used the light and heavy rock technique that he had just learned to increase speed to the maximum. Like a black lightning, he rushed along the river bank, even faster than the speed of sound. Finally, he decisively used the hell stab to forcibly break the sound barrier, allowing his own speed to soar further, and soon found the figure running in front. The Hyuga Hiyashi and others who were chasing in front did not notice the third Raikage who appeared behind. Their attention was focused on the few people running in front, especially the red-haired figure who was carried on his back, who was most likely a ninja from the Uzumaki clan. Now the meaning of the matter is very different, and it is even more necessary to take down the opponent. Not good. While running, a Hyuga ninja at the back suddenly exclaimed, with a sense of shock and fear in his voice. Before everyone could react, a black electric light flashed through them, and then Hyuga Hiyashi felt a pain in both eyes, and then fell into darkness. Ah, eyes, my eyes. The sudden blindness and pain made Hyuga Hiyashi fall to the ground, rolling on the ground by the river bank for several times, covering his eyes and howling in pain, blood flowing from his fingers. Third Raikage, here is the nutrient solution. Looking at the burly figure that suddenly appeared in front of them, several people stopped, and Tamura Hao took out the nutrient can that had sealed the heart of Senju Tobarama before, which came in handy. You did a good job this time. The third Raikage was more and more satisfied with this disciple, and put the Byakugan in his hand into the nutrient can to seal it. The Byakugan is a strategic existence, and its role in war is much greater than that of the Sharingan. Especially since most of their Kumogakur ninjas are good at frontal combat, if they have the assistance of the Byakugan, they can find the traps and ambushes set by the opponent in advance, which can reduce a lot of losses. Raikage, it's the Raikage from the hidden cloud village. The people behind them just saw the figure that attacked them, and they were all terrified after seeing it clearly. The person who came was actually the Raikage from the hidden cloud village. How could he appear here? Their target is my brother's Byakugan. Our information has been leaked. Hyuga Hiyashi helped his brother who was howling in pain up, and had a guess in his mind. The three elite Jonins of Hyuga also had gloomy faces, knowing that it must be so. Someone betrayed their information, otherwise the other party would not know the information that the young clan leader was here, and lured him out to dazzle the eyes. Spirit summoning technique. A Hyuga Jonin decisively bit his finger to form a seal and perform the summoning technique, and an eagle with a wingspan of more than 5 meters was summoned. Black Wing, take the two young clan leaders away. The Hyuga Jonin gave a decisive order, and the other two Hyuga Jonin stepped forward to protect the front to prevent the third generation Raikage from attacking again. Black Hawk did not hesitate at all, and after receiving the order, he grabbed the shoulders of the two brothers of Hyuga Hiyashi with his claws and took off quickly. Where are you going? The third Raikage would not let him escape, and rushed over with lightning flashing. Fukai and the other four threw out kunai one after another to block him, and they would catch as many key figures as they could. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.